My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Letter. The days of studying medicine are very busy, and busy time always passes very fast. Central Park. Chandler was sweating and panting. Adam and Monica were side by side. When he turned around, he saw Chandler standing there waving his hand to indicate that he couldn't do it anymore. Take a break. Monica wiped the sweat off her face and looked at Adam with an unchanged expression. She couldn't help but exclaimed, "You are really a freak." "Many people say that," Adam teased. "Heather said that too?" Monica gossiped. "By the way, why haven't I seen her recently? She went to Texas." Adam smiled and said, "Her grandmother passed away, and she wrote to her to go back and inherit the family property." "That's too bad." Monica expressed her greetings as usual, and then changed the subject. "Go back and inherit the family property? Her grandmother's family is very rich?" "I don't know either." Adam shook his head. "I heard there is a manor and a large farm." "Wow!" Monica shouted enviously. "Another manor?" "Caroline has a manor, and Heather now has a manor too." "Adam, is the manor your starting standard for dating a girlfriend?" Adam's mouth twitched. "This is completely a coincidence." He sounded like a gigolo. "It's just a manor." If he wanted, he could buy one. After all, manors can be big or small. It's not clear which manor Heather is about to inherit. For example, the manor that Caroline inherited is a very cheap one, which can be bought for a few million. Of course, Adam doesn't have the capital to buy a super manor worth hundreds of millions of dollars. However, even if he had the money, he probably wouldn't buy it. Adam is now worth tens of millions, and his assets are still expanding rapidly, but he has no intention of buying a house. There is no need at all. The property tax in the United States is very disgusting. It has to be paid every year. The annual property tax paid for a luxury house is not a small amount. With that money, it is better to buy stocks that are destined to appreciate by dozens or hundreds of times. That kind of place is just lonely and meaningless. The residence does not need to be very luxurious, as long as it is comfortable. And what is comfortable? Naturally, the lover is by your side and the friend lives opposite. Once Adam buys that kind of luxury house, he will have to move away. The distance is far, the communication is less, and the feelings will gradually fade. Even if he buys it nearby, there will still be a lot of communication, but when Monica and others see Adam's luxury house, it will inevitably cause a great shock to them, and thus create a psychological gap with Adam. The digital tens of millions and the real tens of millions are completely different concepts. Adam will be truly classified as a rich person, and the rich and ordinary people can still be good friends. That's just a beautiful wish. Among the 6 old friends, the real core is Monica, Ross, Rachel and Chandler, while Phoebe and Joey are outsiders and can be replaced at any time. Because the 2 apartments opposite are rented by Monica and Chandler. Ross is Monica's brother, Chandler's college roommate and good friend. Rachel is Monica's high school best friend and Ross's goddess. The 4 of them have a very close relationship. But what else do Phoebe and Joey have to do with each other besides being Monica and Chandler's roommates? Nothing. In fact, if it weren't for the neurotic old man downstairs, Joey would have no chance to become Chandler's roommate. And after Phoebe moved away from Monica's side, she became the person who could disappear at any time in Rachel's words. In the group, Monica and the other 4 are obviously more intimate and casual. Phoebe has always been a bit pitying. Joey's attitude towards Ross is a little flattering. Rachel and Ross have been separated for several years. Joey has very strong feelings for her, but he always cares about Ross's feelings and is willing to suppress them forcibly. But Ross is not polite to Joey's girlfriend at all. The devil is in the details. Why are there such discordant places? Because of identity. Monica and Ross's family can afford Porsche sports cars. They are a chef and a doctor. They belong to the middle class. Chandler's mother is a best-selling author. She has been able to afford a male servant since she was a child. She has a high income and can save a sum of money that makes Monica and Rachel exclaim. She also belongs to the middle class. Although Rachel has no job, Her father belongs to the high-income group. From her 4,000 pairs of shoes and boats and horses, we know that she also lives a life that is above the middle class. What about Joey and Phoebe? One has an unstable income and often needs help, and the other has been working on the streets since he was a child and his job is also unstable. He was once so short of money that he had to drink the coffee left by others. Such two people are actually not compatible with Monica and the other four. If it were in reality, these would be two completely different circles and would not overlap at all. Or even if they overlap, they will drift apart and will never be so close. For example, in The Big Bang Theory, when everyone learned from Sheldon that the wealth of Rajesh's family was comparable to that of Batman's family, everyone's attitude changed immediately. Leonard immediately contacted Rajesh's sister because he loved her very, very much. Penny immediately felt that Rajesh was much more pleasing to the eye, and regretted why she had only one hand with Rajesh in the first place. Howard accused Rajesh of taking advantage of him, and asked him to pay for things when he was so rich. Then after eating at the cheesecake shop where Penny worked, Leonard and the other two ran away directly, saying that Rajesh was a super rich man and didn't need this little money. And Penny also made it clear that the tip must be super large, because this is in line with Rajesh's identity. It looks funny, but if you really encounter this situation in life, can you still be friends? When will she come back? Monica asked. Not sure yet. Adam shook his head and said, I was going to go with her, but the timing was not right and I had to go to class. By the way, how does it feel to study medicine? Monica asked curiously. Very good and fulfilling. Adam thought for a moment and smiled. It's also very interesting. When we first entered the anatomy room, a boy vomited directly. Ugh. Monica frowned, a little bit overwhelmed. Is it too disgusting? It's okay, Adam said playfully. He has a poor mental quality. He will get used to it. It's nothing like us standing next to him to eat. Ugh. Monica imagined the scene and covered her mouth and retched directly. After a long while, she was shocked and said, Are you serious? Just kidding. Adam smiled and said, How can you bring food into the anatomy room to eat? That's good. Monica pressed her chest and breathed a sigh of relief, but then she realized something was wrong. Huh? What if you can bring food in? Haha. Adam smiled and said nothing. Just like the zombie movies like The Walking Dead, it's disgusting at first, but after watching too many, isn't it normal to eat while watching? Not to mention Adam's 3 years of work as a hunter and butcher. These are small scenes. Without this psychological quality, what kind of doctor is it? P.S. I am not a person in the medical field. I don't have a medical consultant, and I don't have the time, energy, and conditions to collect detailed medical information like the great gods, so this kind of professional stuff can only be vague and just touch upon, and it is impossible to expand it. Fortunately, this book is called a daily American drama, not a daily doctor, so it is not a sheep's head selling dog meat. Chapter 202. Adam is the son. Hartford. Heather's home. I just want a child. A child. A middle-aged woman in a vest, smoking, shouted excitedly, but I can't have one. What can I do? Enough. A middle-aged man sat slumped on the sofa next to her, his feet exposed on the coffee table, holding a can of beer in his hand, and growled at the middle-aged woman. Opposite them, Heather watched calmly. Ever since she received a letter from her grandmother, she learned that she actually had an unknown grandmother in this world, who had passed away 3 weeks ago, and there was a manor and farm for her to inherit. She flew back immediately to ask her parents. Unexpectedly, but reasonably, she was not her parents' biological daughter, but an adopted daughter. Her parents were someone else, and the grandmother who wrote the letter was her real grandmother. This also explained why her parents always gave her the feeling of a layer of separation, because it was not an illusion. Some details of her childhood kept emerging in her mind, telling her clearly that it was not that she had been overthinking, but that her adoptive parents did have a layer of separation from her. When she was punished for being naughty, they stood far away and had a heated discussion. Her adoptive father, in particular, occasionally looked at her with a gloomy and terrifying look that frightened her. Although she was blocked by her adoptive mother in the end, her adoptive mother's eyes were not always loving. From time to time, there was a hint of strangeness, entanglement, and even fear. "Is there anything you can tell me about my grandma and my family?" Heather looked at her adoptive parents calmly. In the past few years with Adam and Juno, her temperament has also moved closer to them, quite stable, and she instinctively realized that there must be some secrets hidden in it. The reason is simple: her adoptive parents' lives are not easy. They are financially tight. Both of them smoke and drink. A large part of the money she earned from part-time jobs in the past was taken away by them. Now, when she told them that her grandpa had sent her a letter asking her to inherit a large fortune, their first reaction was not ecstasy, but anxiety and mania. This is obviously abnormal. Thinking about their attitude towards her when she was a child, even if she was an adopted daughter, she would not be like that. How can you be afraid of your own adopted daughter, unless they know something? And this must be related to her bloodline family, because at that time she had nothing except her own bloodline. She also had some guesses about this. Her biological grandmother had a manor and a farm for her to inherit, which means that her bloodline family is considered rich. But she was adopted by adoptive parents with poor conditions, and moved all the way from Texas, which means that her adoptive parents did not want her to have any contact with her bloodline family. From childhood to adulthood, the attitude towards her was more erratic and fearful than loving, which means that her adoptive parents and her bloodline family did not adopt her under some special circumstances based on friendly negotiation. Combined with her adoptive mother's confession just now, she was infertile but wanted a child very much. The conclusion has come out. The biggest possibility is that she was abducted. Although it is not 100% certain, Heather has believed this speculation in her heart. What is it like to be abducted by kidnappers and raised as a daughter? Heather said that she didn't want this. If the adoptive parents really loved her like their own daughter, then she might forgive them. But from childhood to adulthood, what she felt most deeply was not love, but estrangement and hidden fear. As for the issue of upbringing, when she was a little older, she took on all the housework because her adoptive parents often drank. When she was a teenager, she worked part-time to earn money to supplement the family income. Even so, most of the money was used by her adoptive parents to continue smoking and drinking. If she hadn't worked hard enough, she wouldn't have been able to go to college in New York. She would probably be trapped here, marry a random man, and then repeat her adoptive parents' life. But her life shouldn't have been like this. "You don't want to know," Heather's adoptive mother shouted excitedly. "We raised you. If I were to say, you are so damn lucky. Those people, I can't even say it." "Shut up," the adoptive father roared. After Heather's adoptive mother shut up and smoked, the adoptive father looked at Heather and sneered. "We picked you up from the shit pile. Now you know. Are you satisfied?" "I should have left you there." "Maybe you should have done that." Heather stood up and looked at her adoptive parents indifferently. The adoptive father was stunned. The adoptive mother who was smoking also forgot to smoke. After Heather pushed the door and left, after a long time, the adoptive father came back to his senses and roared, "Did you see it? This is the good daughter you raised. We are so good to her, and this is how she repays us. She is indeed a beast of the Sawyer family, cold-blooded and ruthless. If we had known earlier, we should have kicked her to death like her dead mother, and put an end to it all." "No, it's not like that." The adoptive mother refuted her husband's words, but Heather's cold eyes kept appearing in her mind, and the hand holding the cigarette trembled. Outside the door, Heather leaned against the wall, listening quietly. When she heard "we should kick her to death there like her dead mother," she was stunned. It turned out that the kidnapper not only kidnapped her, but also kicked her biological mother to death. She put her hand on her mouth and forced herself to calm down. She needed more inside information. The little feelings she had left for her adoptive parents were gone at this moment, and her heart was cold. In the room, Heather's adoptive parents had never thought that Heather had not left and was still arguing. Or it was the adoptive father who was there scolding Heather, Heather's blood family and his stupid wife who wanted to adopt her. Heather's adoptive mother cried aggrievedly, but she did not refute her husband for Heather as she did before. Outside the door, Heather had been eavesdropping calmly. Half an hour later, until there was no more useful information, she left quietly. Back at the hotel, she closed the door heavily and lay on the bed. Heather covered her head with the quilt and burst into tears. Today, she lost 4 relatives in a row: her grandmother, mother, and her adoptive parents. And in such a bizarre and cruel way, no one could bear it. She lifted the quilt, her face full of tears, choking, picked up the bedside phone, and wanted to call Adam. But she stopped just after pressing a few numbers. After a while, she put the phone down heavily, reached out to wipe the tears from her face, and a firmness flashed in her eyes. This is her business. She wants to solve it herself, in her own way, and her way does not want to involve Adam. That is her sunshine, and it should not be eroded by darkness. Thinking of this, Heather picked up the phone again and said calmly, "Book me a ticket to Dallas." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 Flirting Phone. New York, Duncan's apartment. Late at night, Adam had just returned from Columbia University Library, carrying with him medical books and videotapes he had borrowed, ready to stay up all night. He had bought quite a few medical books in the past, and had also taken some videotapes from Leonard and watched them carefully. But that was not systematic after all, nor were the books and videotapes in Columbia University Library as rich and comprehensive as they were. So Adam spent almost all his time in the library, systematically reading medical books and watching various medical videotapes, working much harder than others. Today's accumulation might save one more life in the future. If every day was like this, how many more lives he would save in the future would increase his lifespan. Thinking of this, he worked harder. His endurance reached the level of a show, and his energy seemed endless. This level of hard work was actually no burden to him at all, but just the sign he showed in front of others made people think that he was simply a hard-working emperor. This also changed the impression of his classmates who mocked him as the #1 king of F5. Hard-working emperors are always admirable. If they knew that Adam had to work until 2 or 3 every day after returning home, they would probably go crazy. Back at the apartment, Adam put the books and videotapes in the study. One of the 2-bedroom and 1-living-room apartment was converted into a study by him, picked up the phone and checked if there was any call for him, especially from Heather. Before leaving, he told Heather to call him at night to let him know she was safe. Adam glanced and saw a message from an unfamiliar number. He pressed the call and it turned out to be from Heather. Adam dialed the number. The phone rang a few times and was connected. "Hi, Heather." "Adam." Heather's strange voice came over. "What's wrong?" Adam was too familiar with Heather, and he was keenly aware of Heather's strangeness. He asked with concern, "Is it not going well?" "No." Heather smiled and said, "It's going well. My parents are indeed my adoptive parents. The letter is from my real grandmother. I have booked the plane ticket and will go to the airport soon. I should be able to find out what happened tomorrow, but I think I will have to stay there for a few more days. I can go back after everything is settled. I miss you a little." Adam was relieved when he heard this, and couldn't help but tease, "Miss me? Where?" On the other end of the phone, Heather couldn't help laughing foolishly, and didn't know what to say, which made Adam a little strange. The two talked and laughed for a while, and then got back to business. "If your grandmother was here, how could you be adopted by your adoptive parents?" Adam asked, puzzled. He remembered that Heather said that her adoptive parents were not good to her. "I don't know either." In the hotel in Hartford, Heather's blush had not yet faded, but her smile was gone. She suppressed her desire to talk and said half-truthfully, "They won't say it. I can only go to my hometown to find out the truth. That's the only way." Adam had a bad feeling in his heart, but he didn't mention it to Heather. He naturally thought of the problems that Heather could think of, but he never thought there would be that, so he only guessed that Heather's adoptive parents might be kidnappers, or that she might have been adopted from some irregular channels. "If you need money to take over the manor and farm, remember to call me." Adam remembered another thing and reminded him quickly. In the United States, the so-called real estate and land will always belong to individuals and can be passed down to hundreds of descendants. That is a false proposition, because all real estate in the United States needs to pay real estate taxes every year, and the tax rate varies according to the location. In remote and poor areas, the real estate tax is very low, perhaps only a few thousandths. But in prosperous areas, the property tax can once be as high as nearly 2%. Multiplied by this ratio is the value of the property, and this value is market dependent. In other words, as housing prices increase, the property tax you have to pay will also increase accordingly. This is a problem. If it is your ancestral property, the surrounding housing prices have increased significantly, causing your property value and property tax ratio to increase significantly. In addition to selling it, this appreciation will only bring you burdens. And once you sell it and buy it again, how can you have an ancestral home that will be passed down from generation to generation forever? The so-called people who can afford such a house don't care about this little property tax. That's also a lie. A billionaire, living in a mansion worth tens of millions of dollars, needs to pay up to 200,000 yuan in property taxes every year. And do billionaires lack these 200,000 yuan? Sometimes they really do, because wealth and cash flow are completely different concepts. When you encounter financial constraints, in addition to selling assets, sometimes you really can't even take out 200,000 yuan. And once you don't pay the property tax, this house that will always belong to you will be forcibly taken away and mortgaged and auctioned. There is also the issue of inheritance. Inheritance in the United States is also very annoying. That is, you must pay the inheritance tax first before you can get the inheritance. And this inheritance tax is also levied according to the amount of the inheritance, and the highest proportion can reach 50%. Such a high inheritance tax forces the rich to do charity one by one, and even donate all their wealth at any time. Are there any saints in the world who donate all their wealth to charity? Maybe there are one or two, but most people can never do it. But why are they so keen to do this? Because the charity fund, in addition to a small part of the income that must be taken out for charity every year, the rest of the money is still at the disposal of the owner of the charity fund. Compared with the huge inheritance tax, this expenditure can be completely ignored. The rich have a wide variety of family charity funds one after another, and they donate money to their family charity funds and then transfer the control of the charity funds to their children to avoid taxes to the maximum extent. Of course, this kind of tax-avoiding charity fund is essentially tax evasion. Naturally, not everyone sets up it. This is a capital game for the rich. Those with less capital want to donate all their wealth to charity. Sorry, you are not qualified. You are not worthy. The estate and farm left by Heather's grandmother probably belong to the latter category, so inheritance tax will be a big problem. If Heather does not leave a large sum of cash in advance to help her pay the inheritance tax, then Heather will have a lot of troubles to take over the inheritance smoothly. Maybe after a few years, she still can't pay it, and then she can only hand it over to the country. Of course, with Adam around, Heather will naturally not let him be such a captain of the United States. Yes, I will. Heather smiled again and responded sweetly. P.S. There will be more in the evening. Chapter 204 almost died. On the phone, the two of them started flirting again, and they really experienced a different feeling, because Heather had to catch a plane. Adam hung up the phone reluctantly. Wow. Adam let out a long breath and went to the bathroom to take a cold shower. Then he took a videotape of an autopsy and started watching it. After a while, he completely suppressed the almost explosive true energy in the upper and lower Duncan. Just as he was in a trance, the phone rang again. Adam, are you in the apartment? Chandler's slightly anxious voice sounded on the other end of the phone. Yes. What's wrong? Adam replied quickly. Joey is in the hospital. Will you drive us there? Chandler explained. Okay. Let's meet downstairs in the apartment. Adam agreed without saying a word, took the car keys, and went downstairs. When he arrived, Chandler was already waiting in front of Adam's car. Let's go. Adam asked Chandler to get in the car, and as he drove out, he asked, which hospital is Joey in? It's right next to the Lynx Hill Hospital. Chandler patted his head. Okay. As a medical student at Columbia University, Adam was also going to develop in the medical field in New York in the future. He was steady and naturally had a clear understanding of the information of hospitals in the city. He drove towards Lynx Hill Hospital skillfully. This is a relatively famous community hospital nearby. What's wrong with Joey? On the way, Adam finally had time to ask. You won't believe it when I tell you, Chandler complained. He ate too much. Puff. Adam laughed as soon as he heard it. What, overeaten? Joey Tribbiani ate too much. You heard it right. Chandler shook his head and spread his hands. When I heard the news, I had the same reaction. Is he going to participate in the eating contest again? Adam complained. Joey can eat a lot and loves to eat. There are only two things in his life, eating and sex, both of which are equally important. But the more you eat, the more you spend. His income can't support his crazy eating. So, he likes to participate in big eater competitions, and go to certain restaurants, such as the nearby Tony's restaurant, to eat a kilogram of steak for free. I don't know either. Chandler spread his hands and said, I just got a notice to go to the hospital, saying that he was hospitalized for eating too much. I couldn't believe it. I almost thought it was April Fool's Day. Joey is famous for his ability to eat. As long as it is food, he will eat it, and he can keep eating. Chandler and others have not seen Joey's true strength. Adam clearly remembers that Joey can eat a whole turkey and then eat pizza. To quantify it, there was a dinner party. Everyone ordered the meal, but they left because of something, leaving only him. He ate 6 appetizers, main dishes, desserts, and a big cake. He was sweating on his forehead, but he still ate it all. If in the future, Joey makes a big eater eating show, with this appearance and appetite, he will definitely be a mess. Editing, eating and spitting, and other fake methods are completely non-existent. But who would have thought that Joey, who can eat so much, would also fall? This is normal. Adam laughed. Otherwise, I really want to cut open Joey's stomach and see if there is a dimensional pocket inside. Otherwise, where did the food go? The key is that he can't gain weight. All of them are fucked. Chandler complained. There were a few times when he really fucked all night. Don't ask me how I know. I know. So I moved out and lived alone soon. Adam laughed. So I don't disturb my roommates. Chandler suddenly didn't want to talk. Exercise more. You can do it too, Adam encouraged. Don't lie to me, Chandler mocked. If running can fuck all night, then running shoes would have sold like crazy a long time ago. And what's the point of the blue pill? The two chatted and soon arrived at the hospital. In the emergency room, Joey was lying on the bed, his face pale. Adam also asked clearly. And it turned out to be acute gastric dilatation caused by overeating, and the stomach was just washed. Chandler, Adam, I almost died. Joey's eyes welled up with tears when he saw the two of them. I told you to eat so much and fill yourself up. Chandler scolded him angrily. Are you scared now? Woo. Joey looked bitter and cried. I'm like this, and you're still mean to me? Okay. Chandler had no choice but to step forward and hold Joey's hand, comforting him. It's okay. Oh, so sweet. The nurse came in and smiled. Don't worry. Your boyfriend is okay. No, we're not. Chandler tried to push Joey's hand away to explain, but Joey held it tightly, so he couldn't push it away for a while. No need to explain. The nurse smiled. I support you. Thank you. Adam gloated and added, my two friends are still not very confident. Friends like us are not, but we support them both. Come on. The nurse clenched her fist and turned away. Oh, come on. Chandler glared at Adam hatefully. Joey, how did you eat so much? Did you participate in another eating contest? Adam smiled and looked at Joey. Yeah, Joey said frustratedly. I thought I was a big eater, but this time, I met someone who ate even more. In order to compete with him, I stuffed food into my mouth desperately, and then I suddenly felt bloated and started vomiting. The pain was unbearable. You are lucky, Adam complained. If there is gastric perforation or massive gastric bleeding, surgery will be required. Even more serious cases may cause shock. If medical treatment is not timely, the mortality rate is as high as 60%. So, Joey, you are right. You almost died. What? Joey's face turned even paler when he heard it, and he said in shock, that was just my exaggeration. Are you saying that I could have really died just now, just because of eating? Yes, Adam said seriously. Every year, people die from eating too much, so you really have to control your overeating. Don't participate in eating contests like eating contests again, because it can really kill people. Oh, no, Joey wailed. For him, food is parallel to the indescribable. Imagine what it feels like for a person to suddenly be unable to go crazy and indescribable. and you will know how Joey feels at this moment. Fortunately, Joey's stomach seemed to be blessed by the mysterious power of God. After washing his stomach, he rested for a while and was helped out of the hospital by Adam and Chandler. Adam was driving, and Joey was sitting in the back seat with Chandler. When they passed a burger restaurant, Chandler, "What for? I'm a little hungry again." Chapter 205, Evil Forces. Chandler's apartment. "Oh, Joey, are you okay?" Monica also knew about it and came to visit. "Monica, I almost died." Joey looked like he was about to cry. "OMG." Monica covered her mouth and said, "Is it so serious? Didn't he wash his stomach?" "That's not what he said." Adam revealed the truth. On the way back, he wanted to eat hamburgers again, and he cried because he couldn't eat as much as he used to. Monica immediately put down her hand and rolled her eyes at Joey. "What's wrong?" Joey said dissatisfiedly. "You know me, not being able to eat as much as I want is the same as being dead to me." "I'm very curious," Adam said strangely. "Joey, how did you develop this eating habit?" "Hey, it's not me who developed it, but we in the Tribbiani family are also good at eating." Joey felt offended and pointed his finger at himself. "It's innate." "I don't believe it." Adam smiled and said, "I don't think it's innate at all, but acquired. If I remember correctly, you have 7 sisters. You must have fought for food when you were young, right?" Joey was stunned and nodded. "Yes, that's it." Adam snapped his fingers. "You have so many brothers and sisters, and you have been fighting for food since you were young, for fear that you would not have enough to eat. The more you fight for food, the more delicious it tastes. That's why the Tribbiani family has developed the characteristic of being able to eat." Joey thought about it with a crooked mouth and found that it made sense and was speechless. "And do you know why there are more and more fat people in the United States?" Adam paused here and said to Monica, "No offense." "It doesn't matter." Monica twitched her lips. "The one who was offended by you was the former Monica. The current Monica is not fat at all, so I don't care at all." "You say you don't care, but can your expression be a little convincing?" "That's good." Adam pretended that Monica really didn't care, and smiled. "The reason why there are more and more fat people in the United States is because of unreasonable diet." "Joey, I have wanted to say this for a long time. Not only are you not worried about eating too much, but you are proud of it. I guess you haven't noticed the evil power hidden in it." "Evil power?" Joey and the other two said in unison. Monica complained, "How did eating get linked to some evil power?" "Look at the food you like to eat." Adam analyzed. "Soda, hamburgers, sandwiches, fried chicken, ice cream, potato chips, hot dogs, pizza, donuts, all of them are high in sugar and high in calories. Eating one meal of this kind of junk fast food can make you gain a pound. How can you not gain weight if you eat it every day? And haven't you noticed that the portions of hamburgers, fried chicken, etc. in various fast food restaurants are getting bigger and bigger, and drinks are free to drink for only $1? Joey, what you hate most is eating only half of a sandwich, right?" "Of course." Joey immediately shouted, "You only eat half a sandwich today, and you can only eat half a sandwich in the future. This is not the style of the Tribbiani family. Sandwiches and hamburgers are getting bigger and bigger, and many people, like Joey, subconsciously eat the whole thing." Adam reminded, "After eating such a big sandwich or hamburger, your stomach will be expanded silently, and then you will find that you want to eat more and can eat more. Then your stomach will be expanded, and you can eat more, and you will enter a vicious cycle." Americans like to eat sweets, and even recognize sugar daddies as godfathers. The calorie content of potato chips, pizza, and sandwiches is sky high, but Americans still like to eat them with butter and various jams. The calorie content is absolutely terrifying. It's like fighting the sky. Don't think that Joey doesn't gain weight no matter how much he eats. In real life, Joey should have become a super fat man. He needs someone to push him from behind to sit at the dining table. The dining table is full of various super calorie foods, which is only enough for him to eat. Similarly, if Sheldon, Leonard and Rajesh didn't live together, they would both become super fat. Why do everyone imagine the worst case scenario? That is, themselves or others become super fat, because if you suffer a little setback, you will easily give up on yourself and overeat. and then you will become fat all the way, and the real world is not short of setbacks. That's it. Monica showed an expression that she couldn't bear to look back. As you eat more, you get fatter and fatter, and it's easy to gain weight but hard to lose weight. Adam laughed. People travel either by car or subway, let alone exercise, and they have little time to walk. The fatter people are, the less they want to walk, so they will choose to stay at home, order more takeout, and eat more. So the question is, who benefits the most in this process? Joey looked at a loss. Chandler and Monica looked at each other and said in unison, restaurant group. Yes. Adam laughed. Fat people's appetite is several times or even dozens of times that of ordinary people. Once the whole world is full of fat people, you can imagine how much more money these catering companies can make. The benefits are too great. They are treating us like pigs. Chandler murmured. That's about right. Adam sighed. The meat that poor people eat is all hormone meat, which is very easy to make you fat. The fatter you are, the more you eat, and the higher the obesity rate is. The rich, on the other hand, don't eat these high-sugar, high-calorie junk foods. They prefer high-quality meat and vegetable and fruit salads, and exercise more to keep in shape, because they know that those fast foods are garbage and are used to feed the poor. It seems that Iron Man particularly likes hamburgers and donuts. The first thing he did after being kidnapped was to eat hamburgers. When he was dying of palladium poisoning, he also wore an iron armor and fell on a huge donut to eat. But this does not mean that he really likes to eat, but that he has made a lot of money. Even Iron Man, who used a set of iron armor worth $500 million as fireworks, was bribed. It is conceivable how powerful and terrible this power is. Why didn't anyone tell me? Joey's eyes widened and he shouted excitedly. You really don't know? Adam was also shocked. In fact, everyone knows this problem. They just accepted their fate. If you don't have money to buy high-quality meat, what else can you eat if not fast food? If you don't have the time or energy to exercise, then you're fat. Even Thor, the god of thunder, became a happy fat otaku after being fed with beer and fried chicken when he came to Earth. And if we are going to be fat, everyone should be fat. In the future world of the robot Wall-E, aren't all people fat people sitting on chairs and unable to get up? Fantasy comes from reality. These are common sense in life, and everyone knows them, but everyone subconsciously ignores them. After all, they can't resist at all. So why struggle? It's not bad to lie down and be a happy fat otaku. There are still hundreds of millions of hungry people in the world. Happiness is achieved through comparison. Well, everyone knows it, except Joey. He may really not know. Chapter 206 Iron Triangle and Wings. Chandler's apartment. Joey was very excited after learning about the evil power. At one point, he even wanted to run for president in the future to change everything. Everyone laughed at him, only Adam supported him. It's not like there haven't been actors who have been presidents. Not to mention, anyone can be the president of the United States. Everyone teased Joey for a while and then went their separate ways. It was already early in the morning. Adam went back to study hard. The next morning, as usual, he got up early and took Chandler and Monica out for a morning run. Then he went to class. The anatomy room. Rows of cadavers were lying there. Students formed groups of 5 and surrounded a cadaver, observing and discussing with their hands, while the professor gave explanations. It would be nice if we could do a real dissection someday. Iliad stood next to Adam and muttered. The cadavers in the anatomy room had all been dissected and processed beforehand, so Adam and his friends could only observe the structure of human tissues and organs more clearly. Have you never hunted? Adam held a heart and observed it carefully, and said casually, there are so many prey, you can dissect them however you want. Prey is different from people. Iliad complained, we are doctors, not veterinarians. It's not much different. Adam smiled and said, when you dissect enough prey, you won't feel so boring when you look at these cadavers. In your eyes, it can be a living beating heart. Really? Iliad asked doubtfully. Of course. Adam nodded affirmatively. Iliad curled his lips and stopped talking. Hunting and dissecting enough prey sounds very troublesome and unrealistic. Adam ignored her. After observing for a while, he handed the heart to Bianca beside him and exchanged a kidney with her. Occasionally, when he glanced at the covered eyes of the cadaver teacher, He was deeply moved. Modern medicine is based on dissection. In the past, doctors who studied human tissues and organs took great risks to steal the bodies that had just been buried. Nowadays, there are many volunteers who are willing to donate their bodies to medical schools for doctors to study and research after their death. They are indeed very courageous and admirable. At least, Adam felt uncomfortable when he thought about lying here. The bodies of these cadaver teachers were dissected in advance and presented to the medical students, but only their eyes were covered, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. Covering the eyes is to respect these cadaver teachers and to prevent some timid fear. Adam and Iliad, and the female classmate named Bianca Samson who looked familiar to him, and 2 other classmates were in the group. Through chatting, he knew that Bianca was from Chicago. Her father was a dentist, and she wanted to be a doctor since she was a child, but she was not a dentist yet, because her father once said that although dentists have leisurely work, free time and high income, they are at the bottom of the doctor's contempt chain. There is a famous saying, dentists are not real doctors. But her father really wants her to be a dentist, because other doctors are too tired. It is a very difficult road to take this path. The divorce rate among doctors is very high. Many of them are getting married for the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th time. Even if it is true love, it will deteriorate if there is not enough time for companionship. Most doctors are very busy, especially during the internship and residency stages. Most people who graduate from medical school and get a doctorate in medicine are of marriageable age. If they get married at this age, they will have to stay in the hospital for days and nights before the upcoming residency training. This can last for a year. Either they can't see each other, or when they see each other, their lovers are exhausted and just want to sleep and rest, not want to talk, or they keep complaining about being too tired, and all kinds of negative emotions explode. How can newlyweds withstand this? After that, there are still several years of residency, which is not much less busy than the internship. Even if you make it to the attending physician, it is still very busy. Those who have made it through it definitely don't want to go through it again. How could Bianca's father want his precious daughter to take such a difficult path? It would be great to be a dentist. Although Bianca has always been well behaved, she is very strong-willed. She has heard her father's complaints since she was a child. She doesn't want to be a dentist at all, but wants to be a real doctor to make her father proud of her. Adam has a good impression of her. First, she looks familiar, and second, she is pretty and quiet, with a taste of the Eastern female doctor in movies and TV series, so he often takes her with him when studying or doing other activities. Together with Iliad, the 3 of them are considered an iron triangle. The other 3 members of the F5 group, Stephen Murphy, William Hever, and Alice Kidman, form an iron triangle with Alice as the center. William Hever has a strong and special liking for Alice, which he can understand. But what's the matter with Stephen Murphy? A dignified young master, revolving around a woman, and fighting openly and secretly with William Hever, who is known to be a rival at a glance, to form Alice's wings together. TSK. Every time Adam saw it, he was amazed in his heart. It's really a good trick. After studying for a while, many things can be seen. The freshmen's talent for medicine is very dramatic, and it is proportional to their appearance. F5 is obviously higher than others. Bianca is close behind. Of course, this is also inseparable from their hard work. Not to mention Adam, the hard-working emperor. Iliad and Bianca would get close to Adam whenever they had the chance and work hard with him. Alice's hard work is not much worse than Iliad and Bianca, and under her leadership, her pair of wings, Stephen and William, are also very hard-working. How can ordinary people live with such good looks and hard work? But there is no way. This is the world of American TV dramas and movies that makes ordinary people despair. Appearance is everything. Texas, suburbs of Dallas, Newtown. Just as Adam was playing with the heart, Heather came to this small town that should be her real hometown, rented a car, and drove to the gate of a manor according to the address on the letter. The gate is an advanced password electronic gate. Looking through the big iron gate, the endless road is lined with tall trees, which is very quiet and beautiful. The surrounding area is surrounded by fences and walls. The manor can't be seen from the outside. It is obviously deeper inside, but judging from the exquisiteness of the gate, the manor is definitely not bad. Heather's expression is complicated. She is happy about the beauty here, but she can't help but think of her biological mother who died tragically at the feet of her adoptive parents. She is extremely sad. What also makes her frown is that on the wall of the gate, someone sprayed a big word "bitch" with graffiti. Obviously someone doesn't like this manor very much. Just as she stopped to watch, a white car slowly drove over from there. P.S. Thank you for the really good reward. There will be more in the evening. Chapter 207. This is Texas, Newtown. Outside Sawyer Manor, a white car slowly drove up, and under Heather's gaze, an old man in a suit with a white beard got out. "Mr. Franworth, it's me. Are you Heather?" The old man with a white beard looked at Heather kindly. "It's me." Heather nodded. "Thank you for coming all the way from Dallas. This is what I should do." Franworth stretched out his hand and shook hands with Heather. "Everything is for Ella. She is a good person and the best woman." Having said that, he glanced at the graffiti on the wall of the gate inside. "But I am not welcome here." "Can you tell me what's going on?" Heather looked at him. "A few days ago, I didn't even know I had this grandmother." "Of course." Franworth handed the file bag in his hand to Heather. "The inheritance documents are all in it, and it is divided into 3 steps in total, but I have to tell you that Ella doesn't want you to sell the manor, so she made restrictions in the inheritance. There's no rush for these." Heather took the file bag casually, looking at him without changing her eyes. "I want to know the story in it." "This." Franworth hesitated for a moment, then he patted his head, took out a letter from his pocket and handed it to Heather. "I almost forgot the most important thing. This is what Ella left for you. Everything you want to know should be in it." Then, without waiting for Heather to reply, he handed a long bunch of keys in his hand to Heather and explained, "These are the keys inside and outside the manor. Ella attaches great importance to privacy and security. The electronic password is 0819. Seeing Heather took the keychain and still looked at him, Franworth looked away unnaturally, took out another business card from his pocket and handed it to Heather. "This is my business card. You can call me if you have any questions. A special accountant will settle the property list for you later. Remember, you must read Ella's letter." "I have something to do now." Heather saw Franworth evasive, and she was more and more sure that there was a big problem. She invited him. "Why don't you come in with me and have a good chat?" "No." Franworth glanced at the manor, a trace of fear flashed in his eyes, and he subconsciously denied it. Then he realized that his attitude was too blunt, and added awkwardly, "I have something else to do." "I have already made an appointment in advance." "Mr. Franworth, you are my grandmother's good friend, right?" Heather showed a sad and weak look. Yes." Franworth could only nod. "My grandpa has passed away." At this time, Heather's emotions were completely involved. It was not because of the normal death of her grandpa who she had never met, but the cruel fact that her own mother died tragically at the feet of her adoptive parents. She looked at Franworth with tears in her eyes. "Here, I have no relatives or friends. Now only you can help me." Heather was already very beautiful. A normal man couldn't stand such tears. Not to mention that Franworth knew the inside story and was Heather's grandma's lawyer and friend for many years. "Alas," Franworth sighed, "you are not alone." "What?" Heather was shocked. She just wanted to trick him into talking, but she didn't expect that there was really explosive news. Could it be that she still had relatives alive? "But maybe you prefer to be alone." Franworth glanced at the manor. "Some things are better unknown than known. The truth is the truth, and you can't pretend." Heather said firmly, "I want to know everything. I hope you can tell me. I can bear it." "Okay." Franworth stared at Heather for a while, and seeing that she was determined, he had no choice but to say, "If you insist, I can tell you everything I know." The story starts more than 20 years ago. It turned out that the Sawyer family's ancestral home was here. More than 20 years ago, one of Heather's cousins was a moron, but he was extremely strong and liked to kill people with a chainsaw, so that people disappeared from time to time in the town. The people in the town have always suspected that this has something to do with the Sawyer family, but they have no evidence and can do nothing about it, until one day, a young woman ran out of the Sawyer family covered in blood. and learned from her that her companions who were traveling with her were brutally killed. The town residents who got the news quickly gathered some people and drove to Sawyer's house and surrounded it. They ignored the fact that the sheriff who arrived first had persuaded Sawyer's family to hand over the murderer, and threw flaming bottles into Sawyer's house and set it on fire. Then they slaughtered the Sawyer family with random gunfire. Heather's mother ran out holding the baby. She was not burned to death, but she was lying on the side of the road dying, asking for help from Heather's adoptive mother who saw her. Heather's adoptive mother had been unable to give birth and wanted a child of her own. Seeing Heather, who was still a baby, she was naturally overjoyed and called her husband, who was still searching for any fish that had slipped through the net. Heather's adoptive father immediately understood what his wife meant, pretended to agree, stepped forward to hug little Heather, and then kicked Heather's mother to death in the head. The two hid little Heather in their car and then went to join the butcher's carnival. They looked like they had won a great victory. Some held chainsaws, and some even held someone's broken leg from the Sawyer family. They happily took many photos. The Sawyer family was burned down, but the real cause, Heather's cousin who liked to kill people with chainsaws, was locked in the basement and survived. Heather's grandmother, who was away from home, also escaped the disaster. After returning, she rebuilt the Sawyer Manor on the site. It was not until more than 20 years later, just a few weeks ago, that she died of illness. When she came back that year, Ella investigated everything and found you the first time. But because you were safer staying there, she has just been paying attention to you silently over the years and has not disturbed you. Franworth sighed. I think if possible, she doesn't want you to come back, but there is no way. She died of illness, and your cousin in the basement of the manor needs someone to take care of him. Seeing Heather absent-minded and silent, Franworth thought she was scared and comforted her. Your cousin knows you, so don't be afraid. In fact, when Ella was seriously ill and took me to see him, he was also afraid of me. His mental faculties are only about 8 years old and he needs someone to take care of him. This is a massacre. After a long time, Heather suppressed her anger and growled, why doesn't anyone care? Since my grandmother has the financial resources to rebuild the manor farm, and has a lawyer like you, why doesn't she sue them? Alas, Franworth smiled bitterly. Child, this is Texas. Chapter 208. I'm also a good Texan. Texas. Outside Sawyer Manor, old lawyer Franworth swerves. This is Texas, stunned Heather. What's wrong with Texas? Isn't he a member of the Rice family? Can the law be ignored? Then old lawyer Franworth gave the answer. Really not. Heather, this is Texas. Old lawyer Franworth sighed. The people are simple and honest. Those thugs back then are not only all right now, but the leader Bert is already the mayor, and his son, as well as many of the people who participated in the massacre, are in the police station. What happened back then was reported in the local newspapers, but everyone stood on their side, thinking that they did the right thing and were heroes. Ella couldn't do anything to them, and she didn't want you to confront them. So kid, forget the past. I think when they said it, it must have been my family who fired the first shot, right? Heather sneered. Of course. Old lawyer Franworth shook his head and said, everyone says so, so it must be the truth. But privately, those people once boasted about how they massacred the Sawyer family, and the policeman who wanted to stop everything but couldn't. Now the sheriff of the town, once apologized to your grandmother Ella in private. So what happened back then was not covered up. It's just that knowing is knowing, but it's simply not feasible to go through legal procedures. No one will help the Sawyer family. After all, many people in the town were killed by your cousin. I know, Heather said expressionlessly. There is no right or wrong in this matter. Seeing this, the old lawyer Franworth felt a chill in his back. How could there be no right or wrong in this matter? Heather's cousin killed many people in the town, which was naturally wrong. Heather's elders did not stop it, and even participated in it, which was naturally wrong. The people in the town, regardless of the Sawyer family's willingness to hand over the murderer and go through the judicial process, directly massacred the Sawyer family. Innocent people were implicated, such as Heather's mother and some family members who did not do anything. Afterwards, the people in the town took pictures with their broken legs and laughed. This was even more wrong. Both parties were wrong, and the mistakes were obvious. How can we say there is no right or wrong? Obviously, Heather has something else to say, that is, there is no right or wrong in this matter, only blood feud. The old lawyer Franworth deals with people every day, how could he not hear it? Heather, the old lawyer Franworth suppressed the throbbing in his heart and advised, let the past be the past. Your grandmother really has let it go, and you should let it go too, otherwise your situation will be very dangerous. This is Texas. This is the second time he said this. It is conceivable that the simple folk customs of Texas have left a deep impression on him. He even has no doubt that if Rilla had asked him to go through the legal process, he and Rilla might have been silenced before going to court. In a small town like this, everyone from the mayor to the police and townspeople are almost on the same front, so it's too easy for a few people to die. In many remote places in the United States, there are many more terrifying things than this, and they all become horror stories and legends. But no one investigates the truth or seeks justice. Not to mention that this is Texas. Even if it is exposed and attracts federal attention, it is estimated that these rednecks in Texas will be able to fight back. At worst, I won't play with you anymore. Can't I be independent? The flag that every household in Texas likes to hang the most is not the U.S. flag, but the Texas state flag. Do you think the title of the Lone Star Republic is just a joke? Therefore, unless there is a very powerful force, such as the direct arrival of the great commander, or a superhero or supervillain to help Heather, there is no solution to this problem. I know, Heather smiled. Is there anything else I need to know? The old lawyer Franworth was shocked and frightened by Heather's smile. He thought to himself, it is indeed the blood of the Sawyer family. Even if he was adopted and raised, he was exposed to some madness at the first time when he encountered such a thing. It's terrible. Thinking of this, he forced a smile and said, this is all I know. For the rest, you can read the letter your grandmother Ella wrote to you. Okay, thank you. Heather thanked him sincerely. No, this is what I should do. The old lawyer Franworth forced a smile and said, then I will leave first. If you have anything, you can contact me. Okay, I will. Heather nodded. The old lawyer Franworth got in the car and slowly drove away from Sawyer Manor. From the rear-view mirror, he saw Heather standing there, opening the envelope left by Ella, watching expressionlessly. Alas! With a long sigh, he stepped on the accelerator and sped away from here. He is a lawyer and is only responsible for handling the legal affairs of his clients. He can't control or want to control other things. Just like when Ella told him that Heather's cousin was a psychopathic killer who lived in the basement of the manor, he did not call the police, but kept it a secret for the client's privacy. I hope I can see her again. After the old lawyer Franworth left, Heather opened the envelope, which contained a letter and a pendant necklace. The pendant on it coincided with the scar on her chest. At this moment, Heather had no doubt in her heart that she was indeed the blood of the Sawyer family. My dearest granddaughter, this manor and everything in it are yours, but these gifts come with some burdens. Your real name is Edith Ross Sawyer. Heather opened the letter and saw that it said, among the keys I asked Franworth to give you, the largest one is used to open the underground wine cellar, where you will find an iron door. Inside lives your cousin, Jeb Sawyer, your only remaining blood relative. He is a family member and will protect you. Of course, you have to take care of him and meet some of his basic needs. Edith, you are the last blood of the Sawyer family, my blood. It is up to you to decide whether to stay, but remember, this is your home. After reading the letter, Heather exhaled heavily, and reviewed everything in her mind over and over again. She stood there for more than 10 minutes before picking up the family-inherited necklace pendant and wearing it around her neck. The pendant on the necklace disappeared instantly. Seeing this, Heather quickly took it out and moved it again and again, making sure that the pendant on the necklace was placed outside in a conspicuous place, and then she pressed the password 0819, waited for the gate to slowly open, and drove in. Obviously, she had made the final decision. There is no right or wrong, only hatred. If you can't talk about the law, then blood debt can only be paid with blood. God said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Not to mention, she is also a good Texan. What is a good Texan? Sheldon's mother Mary has already determined. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 20170424123548939 for the reward. There must be one in the evening. Chapter 209 3 Types of People You Should Not Mess With. Sawyer Manor. Heather opened the big iron gate outside, followed the road, drove all the way in, came to a beautiful house, looked around for a while, then took out the keychain and opened the door. Inside the house, the decoration is very exquisite. In the past, Heather would be very surprised, but at this moment, she had no intention of appreciating and visiting, but went straight to the door of the basement wine cellar. She did not take out the biggest key to open the door immediately, but picked up a baseball bat and knocked hard on the big iron door. Dong dong dong, Cousin Jeb, I'm your cousin. Dong dong dong, Cousin Jeb, I'm your cousin. Dong dong dong, Cousin Jeb, I'm your cousin. She knocked on the door and shouted, because she heard from the old lawyer that her cousin only had an IQ of 8 years old, and he only knew that she existed, but had never seen her, and she was afraid that he would not recognize her and attack her by surprise. Adam took her to see many horror movies, including a very similar movie. The killer inside also likes to use chainsaws. He likes to appear out of nowhere and start sawing without saying anything. The style of sawing without saying a word is really scary, so she used the method of knocking repeatedly on the door that Adam sometimes liked to use to show her identity first and give her cousin inside time to react so as to avoid any accidents. After knocking and shouting for a long time, Heather finally heard some movement inside. Dong dong dong, ha! There was a knock on the door and heavy breathing inside. Cousin Jeb, I'm your cousin, did you hear me? Heather confirmed. Dong. A muffled knock on the door seemed to be a response. I'm going to open the door now. Heather took out the key and turned the door open. The moment she unlocked the door, she turned around and walked to the top of the stairs. She shouted from a distance, Cousin Jeb, the door is open. You can come out. Creak. The door of the underground wine cellar was opened, and a huge figure walked out with a huge electric saw in his hand. Heather's beautiful blue eyes focused, but she saw the face of this huge figure, which was not a normal face at all, but a rough piece of skin, with only the eyes, nose and mouth exposed, which was extremely terrifying. Cousin Jeb, I am your cousin Edith. Heather stared at the human-faced man nervously, and reached out to pull out the family necklace pendant left by her grandmother from her chest. The human-faced man stared at the pendant, then looked at Heather, put down the raised electric saw, turned around and slowly walked back to the underground wine cellar. Heather let out a heavy breath, knowing in her heart that this terrifying cousin should have recognized her. For a moment, there was even some warmth. Heather stood there for a long time, and when she saw that this cousin had no intention of returning to the horse saw, she walked down. As soon as she entered the room, under the dim light, boxes of liquor were placed randomly. Then she saw a big iron door. There was an empty plate on the ground at the door. I guess it was her cousin's residence. A corridor extended inside. Heather continued to walk inside and saw a large room full of butchering tools. It was clearly a small slaughterhouse. A huge electric saw was placed on a table, and there were several other spare electric saws next to it. Her cousin Jeb stood there, glanced at her, and ignored her. Cousin Jeb, did you know that Grandma passed away? Heather said cautiously. Jeb looked up at her again, then walked towards her with heavy steps. Heather's heart beat violently, but this time, she did not walk away, but bravely looked at him. He was her only blood relative, and they had a good interaction before, so she was willing to take a risk. Obviously, her cousin had no intention of playing tricks with her at all. He walked straight past her and walked upstairs. Heather was stunned for a moment, then guessed something and hurried to follow. In the master bedroom, an old woman dressed in good clothes was lying on the sofa, and she had been dead for a long time. Heather reached out and covered her mouth. Cousin, we should bury Grandma properly. Leatherface Jeb was standing there. Hearing Heather's words, he stepped forward and held the dead grandma with both hands and walked out. Wait, we are not ready yet. Heather wanted to call Leatherface, but Leatherface ignored her and just walked out. Heather had no choice but to follow him out and came to the family cemetery, but saw that a new grave had been dug and the coffin had been placed inside. Next to it was a row of tombstones, and the date on them was August 19th. Heather looked at the tombstones with a sad look. These were all her relatives. Perhaps some of them were guilty, or even extremely evil, But she could not accept this kind of revenge of exterminating the whole family. Wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes, Heather stepped forward to help Leatherface bury their grandma. They should have invited an undertaker to prepare the dowry and hold a funeral, but considering the situation of the Sawyer family, it is better to keep it simple. I think this is also her grandmother's idea, otherwise the coffin would not have been prepared in advance. The main person who did it was Leatherface, who was tall and strong. After the burial, Leatherface looked at her and turned away. "Cousin, wait," Heather called him. "Grandma is dead now. I will be your relative in the future. I will take care of you like Grandma." Leatherface lowered his head and stood there, motionless. Heather's heart moved, walked past him and walked towards the manor. Leatherface followed Heather, step by step. Back in the manor, Heather began to visit the big house. The house was decorated really well. "Cousin, do you know the enemy of our family?" After walking around, Heather looked at Leatherface again. Leatherface nodded and walked towards the underground wine cellar. Heather hurried to catch up. After Leatherface opened the big iron door, Heather followed in and saw a photo on the wall. There were many people standing on a ruin. Some were squatting on the roof of a car with chainsaws, some were holding guns and laughing wildly, and one was holding a broken leg and was very proud. Many people were holding bottles of wine in their hands, and they completely regarded this as a grand party. What made her look even uglier was that her adoptive parents were in the corner of the photo. After locking Leatherface's cousin in the underground wine cellar, Heather went back upstairs and found a dark room when she was tidying up her grandmother's room. There were not only more and more detailed information in it, but also a lot of guns and ammunition next to it. Shotguns, pistols, rifles and other guns and ammunition were all available. She was indeed a good resident of Texas. Come to think of it, on the surface, she was just an old woman, living in such a large and remote place. Without certain means, how could she protect herself? Fortunately, Texas is like the rivers and lakes of the East. The three types of people who are most untouchable are the elderly, women and children, and Heather's grandmother has two of them. Otherwise, there would not only be graffiti and insults on the walls outside the manor gate, but also petty thefts and even robbers coming directly to the door. There is a joke about a very powerful criminal who entered Texas from another state. Before he could stretch out his evil hands to a Texas woman, he was shot by a gun that the other party took out from nowhere. Then he was quickly dealt with. Other states were still in a panic about this criminal. After a while, when they found that he had disappeared, they thought he had stopped, and then it became an unsolved case. This is the simple folk customs of Texas. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210 Forgiving Them is God's Business. Sawyer Manor. Nightfall. After Heather prepared dinner and served it to Leatherface, she sat at the large long table to eat. After eating, she went to the room next to her grandmother's bedroom, sat on the bed, picked up the phone and called Adam. Ding-ling-ling. After a while, the phone was connected. "Heather, how is it going?" Adam's voice came from the other end of the phone. "Not bad." Heather smiled, playing with a pistol in her hand. "I've moved in. The manor is big and beautiful." "Really?" Adam smiled. "Then I'll fly over to see you this weekend." "Don't," Heather hurriedly said. "The procedures will take some time, and there's also my grandmother's funeral." At this point, she found that the reason was too blunt, so she could only sigh and say, "I want to be alone." "Who is Jingjing?" Adam was furious. "Haha." Heather giggled and replied ambiguously, "You know who it is." "I do know, but it shouldn't be called Jingjing." Adam teased. "Then what should it be called?" Heather asked cooperatively. "It's good to have acquaintances." With a change of tone, "They know how to cooperate." "Satan," Adam said seriously, "haven't you heard the story of the Garden of Eden in the Bible?" "Haha." Heather immediately understood and laughed. Everyone knows the story of the Garden of Eden in the Bible. God created Adam and created Eve from Adam's rib. The two lived happily in the Garden of Eden, until an evil snake named Satan bewitched Eve and Adam to eat the fruit from the tree of wisdom. From then on, They knew the difference between men and women and became real husband and wife. God was an old bachelor, and he didn't see the two of them showing their affection in front of him. So he drove them out of the Garden of Eden, out of sight, out of mind. "You don't like Satan?" Adam shouted, pretending to be puzzled. "No, I like it very much." Heather touched the guns placed on their bed and said charmingly, "In fact, I like Satan too much. Then why don't you let me go over?" Adam smiled. "You know, Satan is with me." "Forget it." Heather smiled. "Distance makes beauty. I think after this period of separation, when I see Satan again, he will definitely like me more. What do you think?" "You are the boss." "Yes, the big boss. You have the final say." Adam teased and didn't mention flying over again. The two flirted for a long time before hanging up the phone. In the next few days, Heather completed the inheritance of the estate. Unexpectedly, Heather's grandmother had already prepared everything, even the estate tax. But according to the old lawyer Franworth, her grandmother has always been paying attention to her, and naturally knows that she is poor. So it's not surprising to be prepared. "Heather, are you okay?" After the old lawyer Franworth handed over the last procedure, he asked with concern before leaving. "I'm fine." Heather smiled. The old lawyer Franworth sighed and turned away. After everyone left, Heather called her adoptive parents. "Hi, Dad, Mom, I got the inheritance. The manor is really beautiful and the farm is big." Heather's surprised voice came from one end of the phone to the other. It seemed that she had forgotten the previous unhappiness. She was completely eager to share the huge wealth with her family. "Grandma, I have someone buried it. Now I am alone. You want to come over?" "Okay." When she hung up the phone, the smile on Heather's face had completely disappeared. When she overheard the news that it was her adoptive father who kicked her mother to death outside her adoptive parents' house, she endured it not because she chose to forgive, but to find out the truth of the whole thing. Now, the truth has been completely sorted out. Her adoptive parents are not only kidnappers, but also the villains who participated in the massacre of her family and cruelly kicked her biological mother to death. In the years of raising her, she didn't feel much affection from them. If it were an ordinary person, they might choose to forget them, and forget all the hatred. After all, even if they are relatives, how much affection can they have if they don't live together? But she is from the Sawyer family in Texas, and it seems that she is born with a little madness in her blood. Just like Leatherface, he kills people without hesitation and can't tell the difference between humans and animals at all. But in his eyes, relatives are relatives. As soon as Heather puts on the family pendant, he recognizes her, and in the eyes of Heather's grandmother, he will definitely protect her. Treat relatives with special care and treat enemies with special hatred. Even if she didn't know about the Sawyer family since she was a child, Heather's instinctive love of collecting bones for bone painting can show that she is different. She used to think she was a little weird, but now it seems that all this makes sense. This is clearly something in her bloodline genes. After learning the truth, how could she choose to forgive when she was so stimulated? Forgiving them is God's business, and all she has to do is send them to see God. As for going to heaven, is it too cheap for them? Applying the story Adam just told her, in front of God, they have to be single dogs, and they can be suffocated to death. In the past few days, she was not only handling the inheritance, but also constantly reading and collecting relevant information and thinking about revenge plans. What almost made her laugh was that in a few days, a carnival would be held in this town, and the theme was actually the Chainsaw Killer. That's right, the #1 murderer who once led the massacre of the Sawyer family, now the mayor of the town, regarded the tragedy of that year as an epic and made it a tourist hotspot, which is held once a year to attract tourists. This Chainsaw Carnival has been held for many sessions, not to mention that it has attracted more and more tourists to participate. At the venue, there are people wearing leather suits and holding chainsaw models to hunt down tourists. It's fresh and exciting. American young people like this. This is no longer eating human blood buns, but directly killing people and drinking blood, and sucking marrow from bones. Heather's hatred is even deeper. She may not take revenge on all the people who participated in the past. After all, there are too many people and the impact is too great. In addition, the herd mentality and the herd effect, plus her family did kill many people in the town, and some of the participants are the relatives of those who died. Therefore, Heather, who was still rational, thought she could let them go. But the mayor porter, the bastard who was laughing triumphantly with a broken leg in his hand, and the adoptive parents who kicked her mother to death in order to kidnap her, were on her must-kill list. She would take revenge no matter what. And she decided to take revenge on the night of the Chainsaw Carnival. Since more than 20 years have passed, they still like to eat the blood of the Sawyer family, so let them eat their fill that night. P.S. Thanks to Feng Wang Yuan's Angzhen, Sakurax for the reward yesterday. And more. Chapter 211. Eliminating the Roots. A few days later, on the day of the carnival, a car drove into the Sawyer manor. When they arrived in front of the house, two people walked down. They were Heather's adoptive parents. But unlike the previous sloppy vests and big pants, this time, both of them were dressed up carefully, and Heather's adoptive father even wore a suit. Remember, tell her you love her, Heather's adoptive mother reminded him after ringing the doorbell. Haha. Facing his wife's admonition, Heather's adoptive father sneered, now that she is so rich, of course I love her. Dad, Mom, you are here. What greeted them was not the buzzing sound of the chainsaw, but Heather's smiling face. Oh, my baby girl. Heather's adoptive father came forward and hugged him exaggeratedly. I love you too. Heather smiled unchanged, let them in, led them to visit the room, and took them to the underground wine cellar amid their amazement and joy. For the alcoholics, there was no better invitation than this. These are all ours. When Heather's adoptive father saw so much wine in the wine cellar, he waved his hand and announced the ownership of the wine. Heather's adoptive mother's eyes also lit up. All of them are yours. Heather smiled and said, Dad, you drink first. I'll go make some snacks for you. Mom, come with me. I have something to tell you. Okay. Heather's adoptive father was overjoyed. He took a bottle of wine and opened it and took a deep sip. The mellow aroma of the good wine immediately made him forget everything else and couldn't wait to pour it into his mouth. Although Heather's adoptive mother was a little reluctant, she still followed Heather up. Heather walked behind and arrived at the door of the wine cellar. She looked at her adoptive father, closed the iron door, locked it with the big key, and went up to turn on the phonograph and turned up the volume to the maximum. Mom, do you like it here? Heather looked at her adoptive mother who was lying on the sofa, closing her eyes and enjoying it. I like it very much. The adoptive mother was intoxicated. That's good. You can stay here from now on. There will be plenty of cigarettes and wine. Okay? Heather smiled meaningfully. Okay. The adoptive mother said happily. You are worthy of being my good daughter. With this, I will have no regrets in my life. That's good. Heather smiled. Originally, she planned to kill her adoptive parents together for revenge. But when the time came, she saw her adoptive mother's smile through the cat's eye and heard her instructions, and she suddenly softened her heart. The adoptive father was extremely evil, but the adoptive mother was still good to her. Without the adoptive mother, she would either die in the original extermination of the family or be killed by her adoptive father later. Forget it. Let the adoptive mother go. She still knows her adoptive mother and knows that the adoptive mother is not a sentimental person. In fact, people who smoke and drink are usually selfish. With the inherited wealth, she is confident that she can shut up her adoptive mother. Half an hour later, Heather drove to Newtown. Wow! A young white policeman on patrol in a police car saw Heather and his eyes widened. He pulled over, straightened his uniform, and pretended to approach casually. Hey, you look unfamiliar. Are you from out of town? Are you interrogating me? Heather smiled. Of course not. The policeman raised his hand and smiled. It's just that a beautiful girl like you appeared in town. As a policeman, I naturally have to protect your safety. Thank you. Heather smiled. Although I came from out of town, I am not a stranger. My home is in town. Impossible. The policeman shook his head and said, if you are really from town, I will definitely know you. Where do you live? Home Road. Heather smiled. Home Road? The policeman was stunned for a moment. No one lives there except the Sawyer family. It's the Sawyer family. Heather smiled meaningfully and said, I am the Sawyer family. I just inherited the estate from my grandmother. At this time, a middle-aged man dressed in cowboy clothes came over. Is this officer bothering you? If so, I can kill him. He can. The policeman agreed with a smile. You go on patrol. the middle-aged cowboy ordered. The policeman nodded and left. "I am the mayor of this little paradise, Bert Hetman." Heather. After the two introduced each other, Mayor Bert looked at Heather scrutinizingly. "Hello, Heather. If I heard correctly just now, you said you are from the Sawyer family and inherited Sawyer's estate?" "Yes." Heather nodded. "You are Rilla's granddaughter. Your eyes are very similar to hers." Mayor Bert stared at Heather. "I have known your family for a long time. I know they don't want you to take over that mess. Tell you, I will take over the whole place." "No, thank you." Heather turned and left. "Are you playing tough with me?" "I'm starting to like you a little bit." Mayor Bert shouted at Heather's back, feeling the cold gaze from behind. Heather smiled. "Pygo, gather some people. There is a little girl in the Sawyer family." Mayor Bert turned around and called people. "We have to cut the grass and root it out." After hanging up the phone, Mayor Bert sneered, "Everything in the Sawyer family is mine. No one can take it away." Back then, the reason why he brought a large group of people to kill the Sawyer family directly after the sheriff took control of the situation was not simply out of impulse, but for real interests. The Sawyer family has such a large piece of land, which is worth a lot of money, but he didn't expect that Ella, who was not at home, was also a ruthless person. After the family was destroyed, she took over and supported the Sawyer family, making his wish come true. Over the years, as Ella managed the Sawyer manor more and more prosperously, Mayor Bert's greed became stronger and he always thought about the Sawyer manor. Now, after waiting for Ella to die of illness, a little girl suddenly appeared to inherit the Sawyer manor, and Heather was the baby girl who disappeared that year. This is absolutely unbearable. So even though Heather seemed to know nothing and did nothing, Mayor Bert still decided to wipe out the roots at the first opportunity. He was so domineering and fierce. He naturally couldn't gather so many people like before, but there were still several people who followed him and participated in the extermination of the family. It would be easy to deal with a little girl. In the police station, the sheriff also got the news and immediately went out of the police station and found Heather. "Child, leave here," the sheriff reminded. "You are not safe here." "Why?" Heather asked, pretending to be ignorant. The sheriff hesitated. After all, Bert was the mayor and his immediate superior, but the extermination of the family that should not have happened that year has always been the biggest pain in his heart. Seeing Heather, a sinless child, was about to die tragically, he could not remain indifferent. "This is what happened." The sheriff finally confessed and told Heather what happened, and emphasized that Mayor Bert was about to take people to wipe out the roots. Her life was in danger and she had better leave immediately. "Are you kidding?" Heather pretended to be surprised and said, "This is still the free United States. The mayor killed people for no reason, and as the sheriff, you didn't arrest the murderer, but just advised me to leave." The sheriff was ashamed and speechless. Heather turned and left. The reason why she showed up was to lead Mayor Bert over, and she already knew that the fat man who laughed triumphantly with the broken leg was the mayor's diehard. As long as the mayor came, the fat man would definitely come too. It was just right to put an end to it all. Chapter 212 The End of Bloodline. On the night of the carnival, at Sawyer Manor, "Bert, you can't do this. She's just a victim. She didn't do anything." The sheriff wanted to stop the mayor from committing the crime. "She's breathing, isn't she?" Mayor Bert sneered and called his 3 men. "Follow me in, and kill the last bloodline of this evil family. Complete the task we didn't complete more than 20 years ago." "Yeah." Several men who participated in the extermination of the family that year cheered as they looked at the luxurious Sawyer Manor. Like the mayor, they didn't want to root out Heather because their relatives were killed by Leatherface, but for profit. Looking at their clothes, you can tell that they are very down and out. According to Leonard's mother-in-law, Penny's mother, this is white trash. They are good at drinking, bragging, fighting, and even killing, but don't even think about working and living well. Over the years, some of them have divorced, some have been single for life, and they are actually no different from those ruffians and outlaws in Water Margin. When Mayor Bert summoned them, he had already given them a hint that they would naturally get a share of the benefits after killing Heather and seizing Sawyer Manor. And looking at the wealth of Sawyer Manor, one benefit is enough for them to eat wine and meat and squander for a long time. That's enough. As for Heather's innocence, they don't care at all. Just like who doesn't have the blood debts of innocent people in the hands of Liangshan heroes? Some even slaughtered countless innocent people. But the Liangshan heroes carry the banner of justice, representing justice. At least the heroes themselves think so, with Mayor Bird leading the way in the righteousness of the blood debts of the past. They are also just. Sheriff, don't worry about this. Mayor Bird's son, the policeman Little Headman, reached out to stop the sheriff and said with a smile. "You." The sheriff was furious and subconsciously touched the gun handle on his waist. "Oh, don't get excited, Sheriff. My father is the mayor." Little Headman was startled and quickly reached out to touch the gun handle on his waist and reminded loudly. Alas, the sheriff's face changed for a long time, and finally he sighed, put his hand down from the gun handle, and watched the mayor and his 4 companions climb over the wall into the manor. Just like he watched the Sawyer family being wiped out, he was powerless. Even if he could stop Mayor Bird this time, the mayor would dismiss him, and then he would lose his job and still not be able to protect Heather. Between innocence and himself, he always chose himself, which is also human nature. "Don't worry, it will be over soon, and this time it will be completely over," Little Headman said with a smile. The sheriff was too lazy to pay attention to him. This kind of second-generation subordinates is the most annoying. Bang bang bang. "Ah, son of the bitch." Intensive gunshots came, mixed with screams and curses. "What's going on?" Little Headman was a little uneasy, and quickly climbed in to prepare to meet his father and others. The sheriff followed. After rushing into the house, he saw several of the mayor's men lying there miserably, and one of them was almost blown up by the gun. Heather had been in long-term special training with Adam and Juno, and with the help of Leatherface, the arrogant mayor and his group were naturally defeated. Holy shit. The sheriff was stunned and couldn't understand what was happening. "Dad, are you okay?" Little Headman took out his pistol and called out loudly while searching. Buzz buzz buzz. A familiar sound of chainsaw came from the basement, making their faces change. No, Little Headman had obviously heard about the chainsaw killer and rushed over. Bang! A gunshot. Little Headman fell down. "Heather." The sheriff looked at the figure who fired the gun in disbelief. "It was me." Heather came out with a gun, her hands open, and laughed a little crazy. Is the sheriff also accompanying the mayor to cut the grass and eradicate the roots? Next to him, Leatherface was holding a large chainsaw and ready for battle. The sheriff paused, thinking that Heather had to fight back. With a look of shame on his face, he lowered his gun slightly and shouted, "Don't be impulsive." "I'm not. I want to stop them." "It seems that your stopping is ineffective." Heather looked at the Little Headman on the ground and sneered. "Everything is over." The sheriff sighed. "Bert is dead. His son and several followers are also dead. No one will come to trouble you again. But what are you going to do with your cousin?" "No more deaths in Newtown." In his eyes, there is no difference between animals and humans. There are many animals in this world, and you can buy them with money. Heather put away her madness and said seriously, "And when my grandmother was alive, she always locked him in the underground wine cellar. Hasn't Newtown been safe for more than 20 years? Although my grandmother is dead, I will take over this task until he grows old naturally." "Is this a promise?" The sheriff stared at Heather. "This is my promise." Heather looked directly at the sheriff. The sheriff completely pointed his gun downwards and breathed a sigh of relief. "Well, you clean up all the traces and let this all end." He couldn't stop Mayor Bert and his men, but he was very disgusted with their behavior of breaking into other people's homes and stealing money and killing people. Now that the mayor and his men were dead, he was too lazy to stand up for them. In a small town like Texas, it was normal for a few people to go missing, even if he was the mayor, and it was just an honorary title. After the sheriff left, Heather looked at the mess on the ground and was a little stunned. How could she become like this in just 1 week? 1 month later. "Adam, I dropped out of school. My adoptive father left my adoptive mother. My adoptive mother is in pain now. I'm here and I want to take care of her." Heather was on the phone. "What happened?" Adam said in a deep voice. In the past month, Heather kept finding various reasons to delay going back and not let Adam come to her. If Adam couldn't see that there was a problem, he would be a fool. "Nothing. Now that I have inherited a large fortune, it doesn't make much sense to go to school. I might as well run the farm," Heather said sadly. Do you remember your theory of love? I think we can take a step back and be more than friends but less than lovers, which is also good. I will probably stay here in the future, but I will go to New York to see you, Juno and Karen, when I have time. Are you sure? Adam vaguely guessed something. Sure. Heather smiled and said, when I have sorted things out here, I will also invite you to come and play. I understand. Adam sighed. Then take care of yourself and be safe. I will. Heather hung up the phone with a smile, but tears had already flowed down her face. Do you regret it? I told you not to come to Newtown, but you refused to listen. On the sofa next to him, Heather's adoptive mother was holding a bottle of wine, smoking a cigarette, and said drunkenly, are you satisfied with the situation now? Seeing that Heather was just crying and not talking, Heather's adoptive mother shouted neurotically, why are you crying? I didn't cry even when my husband died. He's just a man. Now you are so rich, you can find any man you want. Adam is different. Heather shook her head. Then call him over, give him a child, and tie him up. Heather's adoptive mother laughed neurotically. I can't have children, Heather said sadly. The bloodline of the Sawyer family will end with me. Maybe I will adopt a child in the future, but I will never have children. When everything was over, she completely regained her calmness. After thinking again and again, combined with her cousin Leatherface and several cruel elders who were not normal people, she completely believed that there was something wrong with the bloodline genes of the Sawyer family. Such bloodline genes should not be passed on. As for finding a man to start a family and live a normal life, she had basically given up on having such a leather-faced cousin to take care of. If she could let her adoptive mother fully integrate into this special family in the future and take care of the leather-faced cousin for a few days when she was away, then she could occasionally go to New York to find Adam and be a confidant who was more than a friend but less than a lover. But before that, she could only guard this manor alone like her grandmother. At this moment, she was extremely fortunate to leave her adoptive mother behind, and also left a glimmer of hope. Chapter 213 Grey's Anatomy. New York, Duncan apartment. Adam put down the phone, stood up and walked to the window, looking at the 520 apartment across the street. Monica and the others were bickering and playing, and it was unusually warm. Adam couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Maybe Monica is right, Adam muttered to himself. I originally thought that Caroline had a manor and Heather also had a manor. It was a coincidence. But Carolyn stayed in the manor in Virginia, and now Heather also chose to stay in the manor in Texas. Is it a coincidence again? There was another sentence that was not said. Carolyn's inheritance of the manor was full of dangers and unspeakable things, and judging from Heather's appearance, I'm afraid it was the same. What on earth is going on? Facing Heather's breakup, which was similar to Carolyn's, Adam was very calm. He didn't have the impulse to fly directly to Texas to find Heather and talk it out face to face. He didn't like surprises and accidents. And he knew that Heather, who had been with him for so long and had been assimilated by him, didn't like it either. What's more, from Carolyn, he also guessed that something unspeakable must have happened to Heather. Since Heather clearly stated that it was not suitable for the time being, he would not go there naturally. In addition to this reason, more importantly, he himself had no intention of settling down. The reason why he had improved his relationship with Heather was because he was annoyed by his mother Amy, so he did it casually. In the final analysis, he still preferred to practice his theory of love, more than friends, less than lovers. Tacitly understood, deep affection was not suitable for him. But unlike Carolyn's indifferent attitude this time, he was still quite disappointed. After all, Heather and he had been together for 3 years, and they really fell in love with each other over time. For a moment, he had the urge to talk. After looking at Monica and the others again, Adam returned to the sofa, picked up the phone, and called Juno. Although they were all good friends, Adam and Juno had a better understanding of some things. The call was quickly connected, and Adam told the story. Juno, do you think I have any special physique? The friends I meet are all a bit weird. Adam couldn't help but complain. The first one is Magical Amy, the queen of control. The second one is Jennifer, which seems to mean that she wants everything. The third one is Veronica, a seductress who was not picky about meat and vegetables at first, but later became a pious saint. The fourth one is Nora, the queen of pornographic novels, who can compete with her ex-husband for men. The fifth one is Carolyn, the female version of Captain America, who is great and upright, and knows how to adapt. Heather is already the sixth one. This is because he has been together for a long time, and he has noticed it. God knows how many of those short-lived flings are weird. There are also close female friends such as Juno and Karen. If we expand it further, Peggy seems to be a little weird, not to mention Sheldon. Even Leonard's superendurance is terrifying. Oh my god, it almost tastes like a physique that can attract gods. Yeah, Juno smiled, just like when you met me and Karen. No, Adam subconsciously denied it, but the picture of Juno looking at him with a smile seemed to appear in his mind. He couldn't help but change the subject with a smirk and said, "Are you okay over there?" Adam was shocked by Juno's words and understood it instantly. He does have a physique that can attract gods, but this attracts gods not from neurosis, but from the nature of gods. All the protagonists or distinctive supporting characters in movies and TV series have divinity. In simple terms, they have evolved their characters to the extreme, so that when people think of him, they think of his characteristics. In other words, this character has come alive, shining from the illusion into reality, and is vividly reflected in people's hearts, which is similar to a certain concept. When people mention Sheldon, they think of arrogant and cute. When people mention Stephen Chow, they think of nonsense. Not only is there an image, but there is even a voice. Adam traveled to a comprehensive world of American TV series and TV series. The people around him are either handsome men and beautiful women, or people with characteristics. They are not unknown people, so they are naturally different from ordinary people. Thinking of this, Adam was relieved. It's not that he has a problem, but that this world has a problem. Well, it must be like this. Very good. Juno also knew that Adam was changing the subject, but she didn't expose it, but continued with his words. Because Adam was not wrong. She and Karen did have a problem. Harvard Medical School is indeed one of the best medical schools in the world. There are so many great people here. Oh? Adam asked curiously, who are they? He really hadn't had a good chat with Juno about this during this period. Let's not talk about Ben Campbell. He is indeed a genius. Juno smiled and said, there are two other female classmates who are also very impressive. One is Christina Yang, who is about the same age as us. She has already obtained a doctorate and is now studying for a doctorate in medicine. Christina Yang? Adam was surprised and said, is she of Southern Universe descent? Yes. Do you know her? Juno smiled. I met her on the plane. Adam told him about his experience when he went to Palm Springs for Christmas and sighed. I didn't expect she was also a genius. At the age of 21 or 22, she has obtained a doctorate and is studying for another one. Although the value of doctorates in various fields cannot be compared, it is still very impressive. She's very good. Juno teased. And it's not just her IQ, huh? Adam keenly grasped Juno's tone change. What else did she do? She's very close to one of our professors, and that professor is a real medical master, Juno said tactfully. Adam's mouth twitched, and after a long while, he complained, fortunately I didn't go to Harvard Medical School, although there are people with a strong background like Stephen Murphy, children from a medical family like Iliad, and handsome guys like William who are willing to sacrifice themselves in this class of Columbia Medical School. Adam can still calm the situation in general. There is also a great girl named Meredith Grey, Juno continued. Her mother is Alice Grey, the Grey of Grey's Cure. Grey? Adam opened his mouth. This surname really sounds familiar. Yes, Grey's Anatomy. He watched it for a while in his previous life, but because there were too many seasons, he gave up after watching it, and now he only has a vague impression of it. This Meredith Grey should be the heroine Grey. How can she not be amazing? Is she more amazing than Christina Yang? Adam said casually. In terms of study, no. Juno smiled and said, but in terms of lifestyle, she is unmatched. Once she drinks, her pants will definitely fall down, no matter who she drinks with. I mean, really no matter who it is. Adam. P.S. There should be more. Chapter 214 Bad News. On the phone. Didn't she also go out to drink with you? Adam couldn't help complaining. Yes, Juno whispered, but I brought Karen with me. Bringing? or being brought. Adam teased. What's the difference? Juno laughed. Adam thought of Karen's docility to Juno, curled his lips, and said no more. Speaking of which, Meredith is your schoolmate, Juno casually said. She also graduated from Columbia University. It seems that she graduated 2 years earlier than you. Oh? Adam frowned and said, then why don't I know her? Generally, the female protagonists are very beautiful, and according to Juno's words, her style should be very famous as long as she is in Columbia University. Adam can't not know. Maybe she doesn't meet your aesthetic standards? Juno teased. Her appearance and figure are much worse than Heather, but her voice is very special. How special? Adam got excited when he heard this. Could she be a voice actor? Then wouldn't her boyfriend be able to write that my girlfriend is a voice actor? Appearance and figure are indeed the biggest considerations for Adam in making friends, but sometimes voice is also a plus. The sound lingers in the air for 3 days. Those who understand will understand. Very magnetic, unique, Juno exclaimed. I would like to hear what is so special about it if there is a chance. Adam smiled. There will be a chance, Juno said playfully. This is another thing I want to tell you. Her mother, Alice Gray, used to work at the New York University Medical Center for a long time. The current chief of surgery is a good friend of her mother. After she graduates, she is likely to go to the New York University Medical Center as a resident doctor. Are you surprised or not? Son of the bitch. Adam couldn't help but swear. Ha ha ha. Juno immediately laughed. Are you kidding? Adam asked. Of course not. Juno laughed and said, in order to get her to talk, I drank 2 bottles of whiskey with her. These are the truth, she said after drinking. Moreover, she is relatively innocent, so it shouldn't be false. Why are you trying to get her to talk? Adam had a toothache, but he believed it in his heart. He could choose Columbia University Medical School because of Leonard, the attending physician, and then he was going to be a resident at New York University Medical Center. Would Meredith waste the resources of the chief of surgery of her mother's good friend? No one is a fool. Americans are no worse than anyone else in using connections to get in through the back door. After all, he is a classmate and a strong opponent. It's not a bad thing to know more about him, Juno said lightly. I have a bad feeling, Adam said with a headache. This Meredith will probably come. She is doing residency training at the same time as me at the New York University Medical Center. There is also a high possibility that Christina Yang and Ben Campbell will come. Maybe, Juno joked. Christina and Meredith are now good friends. If Meredith goes to New York, maybe Christina will go too. Adam's mouth twitched, although he vaguely remembered that the hospital where Grey's Anatomy was located in his previous life seemed to be in Seattle. This is a mixed world of American TV series and movies, and many things have changed. Seattle is so remote. How can it be as good as the location of Greater New York, the center of the American TV multiverse? And although he didn't want to brag, he was a time traveler with a plug-in, a complete protagonist center effect. It is normal for everyone to get close to him and the earth revolves around him. But he didn't want to. This Meredith has such a big background, and it is not worse than Stephen Murphy. After all, the county magistrate is not as good as the current one. The power of the chief of surgery is too great. With a twist of her mouth, many resources quietly tilted towards Meredith. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake, just deal with it. And her pants are so loose, not to mention her appearance and figure. Her voice is also very distinctive. The heroine's luck is absolutely strong. If she can get another attending surgeon, then Adam and his resources will definitely be squeezed out. And that Christina Yang, who is so young and has a double doctorate, hooked up with a great professor of medicine as soon as she entered the medical school. If she also follows, her combat effectiveness will definitely not be weaker than this Grey. Compared with them, Alice and Elliot are not good enough. Although Alice turned Stephen and William into her pair of wings, she was still limited to the means of a girl and did not lower herself to chat up the old professor because she looked at the face too much. Otherwise, with Stephen Murphy's family background and wealth, William would have been out of the question long ago. The reason for the formation of such a pair of wings is not because William is handsome and Stephen looks ordinary. Elliot is even more of a loser. He is a bit more competitive than ordinary people. He is not outstanding among medical students, Otherwise he would not have followed Adam right away. William has good looks and means, but since he met Alice, he dare not do it too obviously. Stephen Murphy did not have to do anything, and the professor took the initiative to take care of him, but he was too proud and wanted to compete fairly with Adam and win the opportunity by winning with strength. Then, there was nothing else. In terms of strength, Adam beat him. Therefore, among the 108 medical students in Columbia University's class of 1995, Adam always had an absolute advantage, which made Leonard proud, and he had reason to give Adam more advice. In the United States, in any industry, you have to become famous as early as possible, and fame sometimes means everything. What is the difference between a famous doctor and an ordinary doctor? First of all, it's just a name. It will never be a disadvantage to first make a name for yourself as a genius student in the New York medical community. Adam was originally happy that there is no one who can fight, but now it seems that Leonard's most hated supermaster has already targeted him. Not to mention, people will change. Stephen Murphy is proud now, but it doesn't mean he will be proud in the future. Alice looks at the face now, but it doesn't mean she will look at the face in the future. William is restrained now, but it doesn't mean he will be like this in the future. And the little follower Iliad, they will always grow up, and when they grow up, they will all be Adam's strong competitors. So there are already 6 or 7 of them. God knows how many more he doesn't know. It's really terrible. Adam has a premonition that there will be a fierce battle in the New York University Medical Center in the future. Leonard was delayed for so long when he only had 3 persuaders. Adam may encounter twice as many difficulties in the future. Fortunately, he cheated and booked Leonard as his attending physician in advance. Otherwise he really would have to consider changing hospitals for internship after graduation. But this is just a thought. If it really is the protagonist-centered effect, he can't escape no matter where he changes. P's. Not sure if there is. Chapter 215. No coincidences. The next day. Early morning. Okay, let's go for a run. When Adam knocked on the door as usual, he found that Chandler had already prepared everything. He was not lazy and stayed in bed as usual. He was jumping, clapping and shouting, looking energetic. What happened? Adam smiled. Nothing, Chandler pretended. Can't I just like running? Monica, do you believe it? Adam looked at Monica who was walking out. Susie praised him. Monica said the key. Oh, Adam dragged his voice, with an expression of I see. Okay, I admit it. Chandler couldn't help it, rubbing his hands and laughing. You know what? Running is really effective. Adam, thanks. You're welcome. Adam laughed. This is what I should do. In fact, it's not all because of running. Chandler laughed. Monica also contributed a lot. OMG, Adam looked at the two in horror. It's not what you think. Monica rolled her eyes. I'm just teaching him some skills. Yeah, Chandler said intoxicatedly. Some skills to elevate the indescribable from beautiful to something that others will think is murder and call the police. So effective? Adam was immediately impressed when he heard it. After all, Monica teaching Chandler skills is definitely a famous scene in Friends. He didn't think of it before, but now he is interested. This is a skill built from the woman's perspective. Do you think it is effective? Monica said with a smile. But, Adam, you don't seem to need it. No one will dislike skills. More skills are better. Adam said seriously. It's easy to make people want to call the police as soon as they hear it, but if people think it's a massacre and want to contact the army as soon as they hear it, that's called a skill close to the Tao. Okay, I'll teach you later. Monica shrugged. Friends in American TV series are so generous and casual. Sometimes Adam is speechless, but sometimes Adam also applauds. Don't wait. Teach now. Adam urged anxiously. Okay. Monica took the two into the house, sat on the sofa, picked up a piece of paper and a pen, and began to draw. The human body can be divided into 7 areas. Monica quickly drew a human curve and marked the 7 areas. Wow! Adam exclaimed. Monica, if you don't know, you would think you are a doctor. I am self-taught. Monica said self-deprecatingly. Do you want to listen? Listen. Adam nodded quickly. Then, Monica used the 7 numbers 1-7 to give Adam a permutation and combination class that would make ordinary people blush. When it came to the key points, Monica even dubbed it herself, which really opened Adam's eyes. Remember it?" Monica came back to her senses from the joy of teaching and smiled at the stunned Adam. "Please write the number permutation code on it. I was a little absent-minded just now," Adam said honestly. Monica blushed, quickly wrote the numbers on a piece of paper, and threw it to Adam. Even though she had taught Chandler that time, it was not the first time, but this time was still a bit embarrassing. After all, she and Rachel taught Chandler together, so she had some psychological advantages. But this time, she was alone, and Adam and Chandler were sitting next to her, so the psychological advantage was gone. Adam folded the paper solemnly and put it in his pocket. Then the three of them went downstairs to Central Park for a run, chatting and laughing. After more than a month of exercise, Chandler's breath was much smoother when running, and it was obvious that he had achieved good results. No wonder Susie praised him for being full of motivation. "By the way, Chandler, do you know Meredith Grey?" After a long run, when the three of them were walking back, Adam thought of Grey, who he talked about with Juno last night, and asked casually, "Meredith Grey?" Chandler's voice rose. "It seems that you know her," Adam said in surprise. "Oh, of course I know her." Chandler smiled with a smug expression. "Your ex-girlfriend?" Monica also noticed it and joked. "Or is she your girlfriend?" "Hey, she's just my schoolmate, my junior sister." Chandler looked at Monica with dissatisfaction. "Really?" Adam and Monica both gave her a look of contempt. Okay. Chandler couldn't help but smile proudly. "I can tell you. But you must not tell Ross." "Why?" Monica was puzzled. "OMG," Adam said in shock. "Could Meredith be Ross's ex-girlfriend?" "Impossible." Monica immediately denied it. "You forgot that Carol and Ross were in love in college." "Then what?" Adam teased. "This doesn't mean anything." "Okay." Monica ignored Adam, looked at Chandler, and urged, "Tell me quickly." "Okay." Chandler said proudly, "Meredith is our junior sister and a popular figure in the school. Ross and I both like her. Once, we met her at a party. She was just single at that time, so we both wanted to go up and talk to her. Then we had a quarrel. In order not to affect our brotherhood, we made a brotherhood covenant. That is, no one is allowed to chase her. And then you betrayed him and secretly got together with this Meredith." Monica widened her eyes and said in disbelief, "I really didn't expect, Chandler, that you are such a person." An expression that said, "You with thick eyebrows and big eyes are actually a traitor." "Hey, don't look at me like that," Chandler said dissatisfiedly. "Ross also betrayed me. He knew that I liked a girl very much at that time, but he secretly made love with her at that time. At this point, he was embarrassed to mention it again, because when he saw that scene, he shed tears. That girl, he really thought it was true love at that time. You are really something." Adam complained. "You all play the infernal affairs." "I said Ross is not honest." "That's right," Chandler agreed. "So I dated Meredith many times, and several times I went to Ross's territory, the scientific laboratory, which is completely reasonable." Monica couldn't help rolling her eyes again. "I didn't expect that she actually had such a relationship with you." Adam sighed. "It's really no coincidence. Originally, there was only an 80% chance that Meredith would go to New York to become his colleague in the future. Now this has happened. Adam feels that the probability has risen to 95%. Seeing Chandler's smug look, as if he was very proud of his experience with Meredith, Adam couldn't help but hit him. "Are you sure Ross is not the same as you?" "What?" Chandler was stunned. Then he understood and his face darkened. "What? Ha ha ha." Monica was immediately overjoyed. P.S. Thanks to the Sanshao of the Sanying Expansion Group for the reward. Chapter 216 Interesting things about studying medicine. That night, everyone had a party. This was the first time Adam had attended in more than a month. Well, you are a busy man. How come you have time to come today?" Phoebe saw Adam come in and joked exaggeratedly. "I am too busy." Adam smiled and said, "Otherwise I would not see anyone but you." "Okay, I accept this reason." Phoebe immediately accepted this flattery happily. Ross. Chandler came back from work, pushed the door in and saw Ross, and immediately shouted, "You betrayed me." "What?" Ross was stunned by what he said, and spread his hands innocently. "When did I betray you?" "Do you need me to remind you?" Chandler lied to him. "Our brotherhood in college?" Ross's eyes flashed, avoiding Chandler's glare, and said with a guilty conscience, Which brotherhood are you talking about? Meredith Grey, Chandler mocked. But obviously, you betrayed more than just this time. What are you talking about? Rachel asked curiously. Adam told the story. Rachel and Phoebe looked at Ross with strange eyes, with an expression of "you are actually in this shape." "I'm sorry." Ross could not hide it, so he apologized. "I didn't mean to, but you know, I like Meredith very much, and she likes me too." "Did you drink?" Adam hit the nail on the head. "Of course." Ross was stunned. "How can you not drink at a college party?" "You drank too?" Adam looked at Chandler again. Chandler nodded. "What?" This time, it was Ross's turn to widen his eyes and pointed at Chandler. "You and Meredith?" "That's right." Chandler shook his head and provoked Ross. "I did it with her many times. In your science laboratory." "You're too much." Ross was angry. "You actually did this on my territory." Then, the two began to quarrel. Adam didn't bother to care who was right or wrong, because Ross was definitely wrong. Facts proved that Adam's guess was not groundless. Meredith, who had not yet met, lived up to Juno's evaluation of her. "Once you drink a little wine, your pants will fall off, and there are not too many parties in college, and you will drink at parties." TSK. Adam suddenly wasn't very interested in Meredith's voice actor. First of all, the messy relationship between Meredith and Chandler and Ross. Then, the messy relationship between Meredith and everyone else. Adam said, "I can't afford to offend. I can't afford to offend." Although it has been so long that he has forgotten what the heroine Meredith looks like, he vaguely remembers a classic scene. A doctor was infected with an unspeakable disease because of an indescribable relationship with a nurse, and as a result, a long line of medical staff in the entire hospital began to line up for testing. This is definitely the worst time that doctors and medical staff have been hacked. In his previous life, Adam was just watching the fun and knew that this was an exaggerated plot. But now he is in this American drama world, and he is about to have an intersection with the heroine. At this time, knowing that this heroine is more casual than imagined, you can imagine how big Adam's psychological shadow is. Not to mention that her voice is special. Even if she is as beautiful as a fairy, Adam dare not be interested. He doesn't have any domineering gun intentions, and he also has superpowers that make him completely immune. Keep yourself clean. Keep yourself clean. Keep yourself clean. Important things should be said 3 times. "Adam, what are you thinking about?" Rachel saw Adam in a trance and asked curiously. "I know," Phoebe shouted. "It must be something interesting in medicine, right?" Haha. Adam laughed dryly. Of course, he couldn't say what he just thought of. He said perfunctorily, "Nothing, just thought of a question. Do you have many female classmates?" Monica also interrupted. "Are there many beautiful female classmates?" Joey pursed his lips and nodded with a smile. "Really quite a few." Adam smiled. "Studying medicine must be fun, right?" Phoebe said in annoyance. "If I had the opportunity, I would actually want to be a doctor." Dr. Phoebe Buffet. "Wow, that sounds awesome." "Whether it's fun or not is relative, but being very tired is definitely true," Adam said with a smile. "I'm pretty good. I still have time to get together with everyone." Many of our classmates study day and night. The acne on the face of a female classmate, as she said in her self-deprecating words, is like a volcanic eruption. She has no time to deal with it and hasn't washed her clothes for a month. There is also a classmate who bought a stopwatch. In addition to studying hard, he has to press the stopwatch to time anything he does, whether it's drinking a cup of coffee or going to the bathroom, for fear of wasting a second. OMG. Monica and the others were all stunned. "Is it so exaggerated?" "It's so exaggerated," Adam continued. "Don't you like drinking coffee the most?" "In order to keep up with the progress, my classmates often need to stay up late and drink coffee to refresh themselves. Now they feel nauseous when they smell coffee." "Oh my God!" Rachel exclaimed. "Fortunately I didn't go to study medicine, otherwise my image would be ruined." Although her father is a doctor, he also wants a child to take over his job. He has told her about some things in the medical field before, but most of them were really interesting stories. Otherwise, Leonard would have told her how he survived the difficulties of medical school and residency, not to mention his spoiled daughters. Even he himself would not have the courage to go through it again. So this is the first time Rachel has heard about this kind of interesting things of medical students. and she is extremely grateful. Her face is full of acne, she doesn't wash clothes for a month, she uses a meter to go to the toilet, and she drinks coffee until she vomits. It's scary to think about it. It will be fine after you get through it, right? Monica said with lingering fear. Of course. Adam nodded first, then smiled playfully. But 4 years of medical school plus 7 years of residency, you have to endure it. Only after you get through this period, you can barely be considered to have survived it. Everyone looked at each other. They had heard Adam talk about the long time and high intensity of studying medicine before, but they didn't have a clear understanding. The impression always stayed on doctors wearing white coats, having money and status. But today, when Adam casually told them a few specific examples of hard work, they were immediately shocked and made them feel lucky that they did not choose to study medicine. Then, they heard that such a life lasted for 11 years, and their scalps tingled when they thought about it. This is really a road of no return. No wonder Jushiran said, if you persuade people to study medicine, God will strike you with lightning. Are all girls studying medicine like this? Joey said in disbelief. Not really. Adam smiled and said, I'm talking about most of them. There are always exceptions. In fact, this once again proves that the world is unfriendly to ordinary people. In order to study, many girls don't care about their image at all. There must be boys who don't wash their clothes and wear them inside out. Otherwise, if you don't wash your clothes for a month, how can you have so many clothes to change? But Alice, Aliad and others have no such troubles at all. They dress up beautifully every day and are among the best in their studies, making other girls envious and jealous. The law that appearance determines everything is fully demonstrated, which is so unreasonable. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 Everything for Learning. Weekend. Columbia University Medical School Community Health Program. Adam, Iliad and Bianca. This iron triangle came to this health clinic to do weekly medical internship. In medicine, clinical practice is very important, especially for doctors. So even if the freshman and sophomore years are mainly about learning theory, there are still various internships every week to let medical students get in touch with some clinical things. There is a difference between a cadaver teacher and a real person. To understand the structure of the human body, you also need a real person as a reference. In the health clinic, teaming up to check each other's bodies is also a very important learning. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Adam. How was your week? Very good. How about you? You didn't come out even when I asked you to. What did you do? What else can I do? Studying. Don't you know the hardships of us medical students? Don't be too tired. Your health is the most important. Thank you. Adam led the way and entered the health clinic. He greeted the front desk, who responded enthusiastically. The two chatted, making Iliad and Bianca behind Adam twitch their lips. Is Dr. Daisy here? Feeling Iliad pulling at his clothes from behind, Adam changed the subject and got to the point. Yes, follow me. Jenny at the front desk looked at Adam with some resentment, then stood up and took them in. This is one of the teaching practice sites of Columbia University Medical School. Dr. Daisy is the person in charge here. This is an endoscope. After everyone exchanged greetings, Dr. Daisy took an L-shaped medical instrument and demonstrated. You should check each other's head, ears, nose and mouth like this. While talking, she put the probe of the endoscope into the nose of Adam, who was acting as a model. You should stretch the nose a little upwards, and then observe inside, and you can see the beautiful inferior turbinate. After the demonstration, Dr. Daisy handed the endoscope to Iliad and said, just like this, at the corresponding position, extend it inside and observe whatever you want to observe, and compare it carefully with the theories you learned in your textbooks. Don't call me if there is nothing to do. Understand? I understand. Adam and the other two responded quickly. After Dr. Daisy left, Iliad came over with an endoscope and said with a smile, don't move. Let's take a look at your beautiful inferior turbinate. Adam smiled and sat there to let Iliad observe. Anyway, everyone has to be a model. No one can hide. What's more, this is learning, a very serious matter. If you are so shy, then don't study medicine, because modern clinical medicine is based on the structure of the human body. The first step in studying medicine is to study the human body, regardless of whether it is a man or a woman. There are many more embarrassing things than this. For example, when learning gynecology, Adam and his friends had to study on a human model. When Ross's lesbian ex-wife was about to give birth, Ross rushed to accompany her. While waiting, he picked up an instrument that looked like a duckbill and opened and closed it like a duck talking, and he had a lot of fun, until Carol reminded him what it was used for. Ross was so scared that he threw it away. It was so embarrassing. But Adam and his group surrounded the human model, taking turns holding the duckbill instrument, and followed the professor's instructions to operate and observe. What kind of atmosphere is that? Therefore, medical students must have a professional attitude. The more embarrassed and unnatural you are, it means that you think too much, and what you think is not professional, which can easily give patients a bad impression. If you are uglier, people may think you are a pervert and sue you. Of course, this kind of professional attitude also requires special learning and long-term training to develop. At this stage, Adam is still better, but Iliad and the others are not so good, especially when it is Adam's turn to hold the endoscope and observe them. They feel very uncomfortable, forget about the head, ears, and nose. When checking the mouth, Iliad and Bianca's faces flushed all of a sudden, making Adam unable to maintain a professional attitude, and some distracting thoughts flashed through his mind. Fortunately, Adam has been in the battlefield for a long time and has excellent acting skills. In order to avoid awkwardness and continue studying, he forced himself to suppress distracting thoughts and checked their mouths one by one with the endoscope. With this time buffer and enough professional attitude infection, Iliad and Bianca were finally brought into the state by Adam. Without distractions, these examinations are actually very common and normal. The three people examined and discussed with each other, which was very beneficial. If possible, Adam wanted to take the endoscope and go back to observe Chandler and the others as models. After all, the more samples, the wider the knowledge, and the better the learning effect. Unfortunately, these instruments are fixed in the clinic and it is impossible for you to take them back. As for buying, this kind of small instrument is possible, but involving large instruments that cost tens of millions of dollars. Can Adam buy all of them just to learn? It is not realistic at all. So Adam did not plan to use this method from the beginning, and let it go. With his current level and fame, as long as there is a chance, he can go up and practice it as soon as possible, and it is not bad for this opportunity. However, Adam thought of Heather again, and felt very sorry. If Heather was still there, many examinations would have a professional model for him to practice and observe. After all, there is a big difference between human models and real human bodies, and Adam and his friends will come into contact with real human bodies in the future. It is naturally best to use real human bodies for research at the beginning. As for Iliad and Bianca, no matter how professional they are, many things are not suitable for them to study and discuss together. Juno? Adam suddenly thought of Juno again. He was happy at first, then he thought of Karen, and his face fell. Juno is also studying medicine. According to her personality, if Adam proposed to check each other's research, she would probably agree, but Karen, who has been following him, is hard to say. She might suddenly stab Adam. Forget it. It seems that I need a new female friend who is more than a friend but less than a lover. Adam thought to himself, everything is for learning. First of all, this person must meet Adam's aesthetics. After all, when you are out, you can care about nothing, but you still have to stick to your aesthetics. Secondly, she must agree with his view on love. This is more difficult. Originally, Iliad and Bianca both met Adam's aesthetics, and they were classmates. It was very suitable for them to study in depth together, but according to Adam's observation, they both have little experience and are too serious. Since Heather, Adam, who has recognized himself, now does not want to mess with such girls the most. So I can only give up. So, who else? P.S. There should be more in the evening. Chapter 218. Who is the bully? A week later, the morning jog was scheduled as usual. Monica was absent. Don't call her. Seeing that Adam wanted to call Monica, Chandler waved his hand and said, "She's in a bad mood." "What's wrong?" Adam asked curiously. "She was fine yesterday. Her credit card bill was sent yesterday," Chandler explained. After paying, there was only $127 in her account. "So little?" Adam suddenly realized. As the saying goes, if you have food in your hands, you won't be worried. In modern society, money is food. It is normal to be upset when you have no money. Adam had a painful understanding of this in his previous life, so he empathized with Monica's upset at the moment when she only had $127. She really hasn't been to work for a long time. Adam thought about it. Since Monica didn't want to wait on others as a chef anymore, 2 months have passed in a blink of an eye. Americans actually have the habit of saving money. For example, Monica saves 10% of her monthly salary. Otherwise, how could she have persisted until now? Of course, most of them are like Joey, who can only survive by borrowing money if they don't work. Resigning is a relief, and it has been 2 months. If her savings hadn't run out, I'm afraid Monica would still be immersed in the state of "this job is not good, that job is not good either, let's wait and see, no rush." "Yeah," Chandler complained, "the key is that she hasn't figured out what she wants to do. Her state is basically the same as when she resigned, or even worse." "The chef is actually quite good," Adam pondered. "With her current level, if there is a chance, she can directly become a restaurant chef. That way she will have a high income and face, but the key is that this opportunity is rare." In this regard, he didn't have any good ideas. Although he often goes to high-end restaurants, the chefs are doing a good job, and he can't ask if they need a new chef, right? This kind of job is also a one-to-one job. Monica resigned completely on impulse. Unlike Chandler, she likes being a chef, but she quit because she didn't handle the relationship with her colleagues and boss well. Therefore, Adam did not comfort, encourage, or provide funds like Chandler did when he resigned. Monica has a brother, a father, and a mother. If it really comes to that, Ross and others will definitely help her. Besides, her current state is purely because she has been staying at home for too long and is too lazy to step out of her comfort zone. If she is not forced, she will probably continue to stay at home. Too much help is not good for her. "What's wrong?" The two came back from a run in Central Park. Because Monica was in a bad mood and did not provide breakfast, when they passed by the Central Park Cafe, Adam was about to go in for a cup of coffee and breakfast, but saw Chandler sneaking around, and couldn't help asking curiously, "No, nothing." Chandler looked inside, breathed a sigh of relief, and followed Adam in. "What's wrong?" After ordering coffee and food, Adam asked. Okay. Seeing Adam staring at him, Chandler smiled bitterly. "Ross and I met 2 bullies here. They warned us not to come here again, otherwise they would beat us up every time they saw us." PFFT. Adam almost burst out laughing. "How old are you? Are you still afraid of bullies?" "That's easy for you to say," Chandler complained. "We have been bullied since we were young, and we have always had psychological trauma. And they are really strong and fierce." "Really?" Adam smiled. "I would like to see it for myself." "Forget it." Chandler shook his head and said, "Joey also said he would help us, but Ross and I don't want to call you or Joey every time we drink coffee." "Why call me and Joey?" Adam smiled. "If we don't call you, what if we meet them again?" Chandler asked in confusion. "Ah, silly boy." Adam patted Chandler's head with pity. "You are really used to being bullied. Do you think I am just giving you courage, isn't it?" Chandler became more and more confused. "Of course not." Adam laughed and said, "Didn't they say that if they see you again in the Central Park Cafe, they will beat you up? Then I will make them never show up in this Central Park Cafe, and the problem will be completely solved?" "What do you mean?" Chandler opened his mouth. "An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We will scare them like bullies so that they dare not show up again." "I will be the bully," Adam teased. "You can't pretend to be one. Can you do it?" Chandler doubted. "They are very strong, and there are 2 of them. A man can't say no." Adam said confidently, "I can beat 10 of them." When the 2 went out, Look, it's them, and the hat he wears is stolen from me." Chandler hid behind Adam, pointed at the 2 white men walking towards him, and whispered, "Don't worry, watch me." Adam dragged Chandler to the front and faced him head on. "Oh, look who's here. Aren't these cowards?" As soon as the two saw Chandler, they arrogantly mocked and insulted him. Obviously the old bullies. What? The two bullies were stunned, and looked at the thin Adam. They didn't react for a while, because they couldn't imagine that Adam dared to resist. "You're looking for death." When they figured it out, they were furious and were about to fight. "This is the street, don't affect the city appearance. Let's go to the alley over there." Adam took the initiative to meet them, put his hands on their shoulders, and with a little force, he controlled the two people, and took the two people who were about to cry to the empty alley next to them. "Hey, you are bullies after all, can you have some backbone? How can you cry like a sissy?" Adam hugged them left and right and scolded them. "Brother, we were wrong. Let go quickly. I can't stand it anymore. It hurts." It would have been better if Adam didn't say anything. Once he said it, the two bullies couldn't hold back anymore and really shed tears. Bullies don't cry easily, but they just don't feel the pain. "Do you really know you are wrong?" Adam slightly reduced his strength. "What's wrong?" "We shouldn't have messed with you." "Ah, we shouldn't have messed with your friend." The pain added to their bodies. The two bullies' brains were particularly sharp, and one move could let them know what to do. They looked at Chandler with tears in their eyes. "I'm sorry." "It's okay." Chandler was confused the whole time, and he really couldn't accept that the bullies had turned into this shape. "I heard that you don't want to see my friends in the Central Perk Cafe," Adam reminded gently. "We were wrong. We won't appear in the Central Perk Cafe in the future." The two bullies were very sharp. "You won't secretly cause trouble for my friends while I'm away, right?" Adam smiled. "No. No." The two bullies shook their heads quickly. They had never met a strong man like Adam, and the strength of one arm made them unable to resist. Now they just wanted to leave, so they didn't dare to play tricks, and they had no intention of revenge in the future. "I don't think so." Adam let them go with a smile. "How about this? Give me a business card each, so we can play together in the future." The two bullies took out their business cards from their pockets and handed them to Adam, and decided in their hearts that they would never go near this area again. "Hat." Adam stretched out his hand and took back Chandler's hat, then waved and said, "Let's talk again when we have time." The two bullies immediately trotted away. "See, it's that simple." Adam put the hat on Chandler's head and smiled. "Chandler, who is the bully? What is it like to be friends with a bully? P.S. Thank you Dan for the reward. If you have a favorite female character, please leave a message, and the author will consider adding it." Chapter 219 The Style of the Stock God. At night, the phone rang. Adam was watching a videotape when the phone rang. "Hello, Adam. Let me ask you a question." Monica's excited voice came from the other end of the phone. Adam motioned to her. "Do you buy stocks?" Monica said repeatedly. "Which one? How is the growth trend? How much money have you made?" "Slow down, slow down." Adam took the phone away from his ear for a while, and when the sound on the other end weakened a little, he complained, "Why are you speculating in stocks again? What's so difficult about speculating in stocks?" Monica said indifferently, "Isn't it just buying low and selling high? Bear market and bull market. I think the momentum is pretty good recently, and everyone says it's a bull market." Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. This sounded so familiar. There was a period of time in his previous life when Adam's ears were also filled with the sound of the bull market. The daily limit one after another made Adam, who had never played stocks, feel itchy and wanted to open an account to enter the market to make a fortune. But at that time he didn't have an account, and it was too troublesome to open an account, so he kept thinking about it but didn't take action. Every day, I hear many people like Adam who have no experience in stock trading enter the market, buy stocks with their eyes closed, and make a lot of money. Adam looked at the K-line chart, studied the rules of the stock market, and finally couldn't help but want to take action. Then there was no more, because the news of daily limit everywhere disappeared overnight, replaced by this one being stuck, that one being stuck, and the invested funds were greatly discounted. The newcomer who wanted to cry but had no tears. Only then did he know that there was a saying of cutting leaks. The stock market has risks, and investment needs to be cautious. It is really not an empty talk. There are so many blood and tears in it. Adam was very lucky. If he was not lazy and thought it was troublesome to open an account, he would have been encouraged to enter the market. If he was not lazy and found it troublesome to open an account, he would have been in vain for a few months. If he was stuck and fell again and again, he would have worked hard for a whole year, and then he would have returned to the pre-liberation era. Since then, he has never paid attention to the stock market again. After crossing over, if the money was not made too easily and too quickly, and he knew that long-term holding of Apple, Google and other high-tech company stocks would definitely make a lot of money, he would never buy most of his money in stocks. Even so, for the sake of safety, he also left millions of savings for emergency. He would not touch high-risk types such as leverage and futures, even if the securities managers boasted to him. Those were special elevators to the rooftop. I bought Apple, Google, Amazon. Adam reported the types of stocks he held. If his friends were courageous and patient, he would not mind taking them to make a fortune. But obviously, not everyone was patient enough. These stocks, Monica obviously also studied it, and frowned as soon as she heard it. The rise is too slow, not even a 10% increase a day. It's too boring to buy these stocks, and you can't make a lot of money. What do you want to buy? Adam's mouth twitched. 10% a day, for stocks with a capital of tens of millions. 10% a day is 1 million. What does it mean to make 1 million a day? That's the level of billionaires. The newly minted leaks are indeed full of romantic feelings of getting rich overnight. Adam has a deep understanding of this. Meg, Monica said confidently. What company's stock is this? Adam asked in confusion. I don't know either, Monica said proudly. But didn't you notice that the name of this stock is very similar to my name? So? Adam was speechless. So, of course I bought it, Monica said confidently. I believe it will definitely bring me good luck. Then why are you asking me? Adam complained. You are obviously more experienced than me. Let's discuss it, Monica said dissatisfiedly. Being well informed is also a major point in stock trading. I don't trade stocks. Adam smiled. I only invest in stocks. Whatever. Monica was not interested in listening, and said in a roundabout way, I feel very good now. This is the career I have always pursued. Adam, do you support me? Haha. Adam smiled non-committally. Monica paused, then regained her confidence. The only regret now is that my capital is too little. Even if it rises by 10% a day, I will only make $12.7. Which is totally not worthy of my luck. So, can you lend me some and I will pay you back after I make a lot of money, and the interest will still be calculated. Remember the admonition meeting in Las Vegas? Adam was amused and kindly reminded. Do you want to have another one? How can this be the same? Monica shouted. I was wrong that time. It was gambling. But this time I am investing, and this is my future job. Long-term holding is called investment. Adam corrected. Short-term operations are gambling, and they are even worse than gambling in Las Vegas. What's worse is that in Las Vegas, you can roll the dice and bet on your own luck, but when you trade stocks, you will be surrounded and manipulated by a lot of false information, and you can be cut off in one go. If you don't want to lend it, then don't lend it. Why scare me? Monica felt guilty at first, then said aggrievedly, I don't want to do this. Do I really have to go to that crappy restaurant? Not only do I have to dance, but I also have to wear a costume. I don't want to wear a fake murderer that can't even be burned by fire. The real murderer can't be burned either. Adam couldn't help but remind him. Bang! The phone was hung up. Adam got up and went to the window, and saw Monica going crazy across the street. He just smiled, but ignored her. The more unhappy she is now that she didn't borrow money and how much money she lost, the more fortunate she will be in the future that she didn't borrow money this time. And this time won't be too long. The next day, after class, Adam deliberately didn't go to the library, but came to apartment 520. I want to buy 5 shares of SGJ, and I want it now. Hurry up. Time is money, my friend. Thank you. Monica held the phone and shouted excitedly. Wow. Adam, you're here. Seeing Adam coming in, Monica smiled proudly. I made $17 before breakfast. Isn't it amazing? I am really a stock trading genius. Didn't you buy Meg? Adam asked curiously. That's all in the past. Monica said nonsense seriously. Although she made money for me, I dumped her. My motto now is to retreat before the weakness. This is really suitable for your motto. Adam twitched his mouth. Men will definitely not think so. Monica understood the connotation and couldn't help rolling her eyes. Her time is precious now, let alone the connotation jokes. Even the indescribable ones are not interested. Then Adam heard Monica constantly calling, shouting money makes money and don't force me to kick your Wall Street ass and other explosive words. Adam seemed to see the stock god's demeanor of I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a minute, until, no, Monica's screams resounded throughout the building. Chapter 220 Can't Live Without Women. The next day, a restaurant near Brooklyn. Is this the place? Adam and others came together to cheer up Monica, who had just started working yesterday. She was so proud that she wanted to make a career as a stock god, but she was kicked out the next second. Under the great joy and sorrow, Monica completely gave up the idea of making money by speculating in stocks. Then, her last bit of money was also gone. So, she could only take the job information in the newspaper and come here to work. Wow! When everyone saw Monica standing behind the bar, everyone's face was surprised. She was wearing a silver fluffy wig, and her chest was like a raging wave overnight, more exaggerated than Heather, and she had a pair of glasses hanging around her neck. This is her costume, the originator of cosplay. Don't look at it, it's all fake, and it's empty inside. Seeing Adam and Joey staring at her, Monica couldn't help but grab it to demonstrate, and taunted, Adam, you really can't live without women. Ahem. Adam was a little embarrassed. In the past, he would never have done this, but Heather has been gone for more than a month, and Adam, as you show off, is really like what Monica said, he can't live without women. As the window of separation lengthens, he, who is usually calm, will be attracted by women's curves from time to time, and he is completely out of control. I was just thinking about something, and I was a little absent-minded. TSK. The others all said contemptuously, are you really broken up with Heather? Chandler asked with concern. Do you want me to ask Susie to introduce you to a few? With your conditions, you can definitely date actresses. Hey, Joey was immediately jealous when he heard it, and his eyes were wide open. Why do you only introduce him, but never think of introducing me? I am also single, and I am an actor. Don't you think I am more suitable to date actresses? You have your way. Didn't I just say to introduce a few? Adam doesn't need so many. Chandler tried to save the situation with a headache. That's more like it. Joey pursed his lips and nodded with a smile. Hey, Ross couldn't help but yelled. Why am I not on the list? Huh? Everyone looked at him, and then at Rachel. What? Rachel looked confused. Aren't you angry? Monica asked in confusion. Oh, come on. Rachel shrugged and said, you don't really think Ross can do it? He can only make a list and think about it. Dating a female star. Him? Hey, Ross said dissatisfiedly, that's not just a list. If I really meet one, I will really take action. Okay. Rachel smiled indifferently. Do you really think I don't dare to do it? Ross was angry. What list? Adam interrupted. It means we can imagine a love list, and the list can list 5 celebrities. Rachel smiled and said, if we meet them, we can have sex with them, and the other party can't be angry. You guys are really fun. Adam raised 2 thumbs up. Come on, this is just imagination. It won't really happen. Rachel forced an explanation. This is New York. Adam reminded. There is a high chance that you will meet the celebrities you imagine, who are on your list. Chandler asked curiously. Mine is Chris O'Donnell, John Kennedy Jr., Daniel Day, Louis Stein, and Parker Stevens. Rachel said 5 names in one breath, and it was obvious that this fantasy was not the first or second time. Adam didn't know any of them, but from the expressions of Monica and Phoebe, he knew that Rachel had chosen handsome guys. Ross, what about you? Chandler looked at Ross again. Take it out, Rachel said unhappily. Hey, cough. What are you taking out? Ross laughed and coughed, and spread his hands innocently. Your love list, Rachel complained. Don't think I don't know. Not only did you list the list, you printed it out, and even laminated it. PFFT, everyone laughed. Are you serious? This is a list, Ross said embarrassedly. I just want to be more formal. Laminating is for better preservation. Finally, seeing that everyone was staring at him strangely, he couldn't say anything more and had to take out a small business card from his pocket. He still carries it with him. Rachel laughed. He's afraid that if he really meets someone one day, he he won't be able to get close to them with such a perfect reason. Uma Thurman, Winona Aird, Elizabeth Hurley, Michelle Pfeiffer, Dorothy Hamill. Joey snatched it and read it out loud. Dorothy Hamill? Everyone looked at Ross again. This is a famous skater, but it's hard to say about his appearance. Hey, this is my list and I have the final say. Ross shouted in shame. Uma is beautiful. I like Wino. Everyone discussed it one after another. You all like Wino? Seeing Adam nod, Rachel couldn't help but wonder. My college best friend looks a lot like her. Is it true? Joey exclaimed. Of course it's true, Rachel affirmed. We are very close, and Ross has also met her. At this point, she suddenly felt something was wrong, and looked at Ross with a scrutinizing look. Coincidence? This is all coincidence. Ross's face changed, and he quickly denied. Have I met your college best friend? Everyone looked down on her, but in the end, they didn't hold on to this topic. It's a common practice to like a girlfriend's best friend and a best friend's boyfriend, as long as it's not excessive and there is no actual action. It's not a big deal for Rachel and the others. The topic turned back to Adam. Seriously, Adam, what's going on between you and Heather? Rachel asked curiously. It's probably the same as Carolyn, Monica said contemptuously. She's gone back to inherit the estate. Why would she dump Adam? So pitiful. Rachel said sympathetically. You've been dumped by 2 women in a row. Adam, are you okay? I can still hold on. Adam's mouth twitched and he laughed at himself. What was originally a very natural thing was made a little depressing by what they said. However, he really needs a woman, otherwise, he, who has unlimited energy, really can't hold it back, especially with the beautiful girls Iliad and Bianca often in front of him. It's really like an advertisement in the previous life. Wang Zai milk, look at it again, I will drink you up. The 3 connotations fit. Everyone ate and chatted at the same time. Before leaving, Adam went to the bathroom to use the toilet, but suddenly bumped into someone, and the touch felt unusually familiar. Heather? Adam couldn't help but blurt out, and then took a closer look, but found that it was not her at all. But he also recognized this face. P.S. I wish everyone a happy Chinese Valentine's Day. Everyone is going out to have fun tonight. The author will definitely accompany you to the end. Chapter 221 Girl Max. Restaurant. In front of the bathroom. Hey, buddy, look carefully. This is a bear, not a volleyball. Just as Adam was stunned, the person he bumped into, that familiar but slightly immature face, blurted out these words, and Adam no longer had any doubts. It's her, that's her, the poisonous bear Max. But at this moment, she is still immature, and there is a glimmer in her eyes that does not belong to Adam's impression of her. She is much more energetic than when she appeared in the American TV series Two Broke Girls. Her appearance is above average, not outstanding, and she does not have long legs, but her only advantage is too obvious, overwhelming everything. Enough to make people ignore other details, isn't it? Adam couldn't help but tease. Are you sure? Seeing the girl Max squatting there, rubbing the part that was hit while picking up the books that were knocked off, he also squatted down to help pick them up. After a quick glance, it turned out to be a college or textbook, and he couldn't help but feel happy. Sure enough, the other party still has dreams at this moment and has not completely suffocated. There is a funny saying that I smoke, drink, and have tattoos, but I am a good girl. For 99% of the girls who said this is a disgusting statement that flatters themselves. But for the girl in front of him, it fits perfectly. Her life experience is too miserable, but she always keeps a kind heart. At this moment, if Adam guessed correctly, she should be standing at an important dividing line in life. If she goes one step further, she may be able to escape from the abyss and come to the world. If she takes a step back, she will see the abyss and not be afraid of hell. Her dream is actually to be a painter of children's books, nothing more. If there is no accident, she will obviously be blocked from moving forward and take a step back. However, at this moment, she was bumped by Adam, which is obviously the biggest surprise. The girl Max looked up in surprise, put down her slightly eye-catching hand, and smiled. Brother, I like you. Adam did not take it for granted, knowing that her love was to appreciate Adam's dirty response. and it was a mutual appreciation of dirty. "Do you work here?" Adam was a little curious. Although this place is close to Brooklyn, it is still separated by a river and belongs to Manhattan. In his impression, the other party should have been in Brooklyn. "If you don't work here, do you stand on the street?" Although the girl Max is still young, her two characteristics, big bear and sharp tongue, have been completely formed, and she can taunt with a little dirty jokes. "You know what, with this pair of darlings, standing on the street to work is also a good option." As she said, she also stretched out her hand to support. Adam, who had nowhere to put his energy, couldn't help but feel dizzy. "It's really a good option." Seeing this, the girl Max couldn't help laughing. "If it really comes to that, remember to come and support me. Volleyball is volleyball. Whatever you say is what it is." Ahem. Adam really couldn't bear it, so he could only smile awkwardly. In the previous life, it was said that when women become dirty, they have nothing to do with men. It really is not a joke. "I won't talk to you anymore. I have to go to work." The girl Max turned and left. Thinking of Adam's appearance, she took 2 steps, stopped again, turned around and smiled. "Do you see the new Big Bear chef over there?" "Yeah." Adam glanced at Monica, suppressed a smile and nodded. "Do you know why she is dressed like that?" The girl Max made another dizzying move of grabbing the sun, moon and mountains. "To attract customers?" Adam suddenly realized. "Well, go and look at the name of the restaurant." The girl Max smiled and said, "The waiters who fit the theme of this restaurant have a salary 30% higher than other places. Why do you think I work here?" After that, she pushed the door and went to the back kitchen. Holy shit. Adam noticed that the restaurant was called Max Restaurant, and then he looked at the other waitresses. According to the girl Max's prompt, the average line was at least C. In fact, according to this standard, Monica herself has met the standard. The reason why she has to wear such exaggerated props is entirely because she is the front kitchen who directly faces the customers. Among the color, fragrance and taste, color ranks first. "Hey, aren't you leaving?" Monica, who was making meals for the guests, turned around and saw Adam sitting down again. She asked in surprise, "Why are you sitting so far away?" There was a bar in front of the front kitchen where she was. After she finished, she handed it over directly and let the guests sit there to eat. There was no need for waiters at all. Of course, this also brings certain limitations, that is, she can only make simple meals that do not require much heat treatment. The rest will naturally be handled by the kitchen. "I'm suddenly hungry again." Adam did not sit at the bar, but sat at the dining table, and smiled. "You don't have to worry about me." Monica was a little confused at first, but when the girl Max changed into a waiter's uniform and came out, Adam waved his hand directly. She immediately rolled her eyes and complained, "You really can't live without women." Then, she couldn't help but look at Max a few more times, and then looked down at herself with an even more exaggerated arc, and pouted. "I've been told it's fake, but I still don't believe it." Today is her first day at work, and Max has just come because he has to go to class, so the two have not met formally. Monica didn't know Max's background, but just glanced at it. Seeing the amazing and exaggerated arc, she instinctively felt that Max must be like her, a victim of the bad taste of an unscrupulous boss. "Sir, what do you need to order?" Max, wearing a waiter's uniform, walked to Adam's dining table, holding a note and a pen in her hand, and asked seriously, "My name is Adam." Adam took the menu, but did not order the dishes right away. "Okay," braced Adam. Max took a pen and wrote quickly on the note, "Another steamed Max." Adam smiled. Well, it seems that someone is well informed." Max glanced at the other waiters and said venomously, "Yes, these little bitches like people like you." She thought Adam had heard her name from others. "You don't like it?" Adam was out of character today and decided to flirt with her. "Are you asking me out?" Max asked instead of answering. "Do you have the honor?" Adam smiled. Max did not answer either, but tore off a page of the note, slapped it on the table, and turned to walk towards other guests. Adam took it and saw her name and phone number written on the note. She is indeed a super female driver. Even if she is still a little green now, her vision and decisiveness are amazing. Max took note of other customers' orders and went to the kitchen to place the orders. When he passed by Adam, he stopped and asked seriously, "Sir, Are you satisfied with your bracelet, Adam? Very satisfied. Adam nodded with a smile. That's good. Max said seriously, if you need anything, feel free to contact me. Monica watched the whole process and rolled her eyes when she saw Adam waving at her with a note. Kitchen. Facing the envy and jealousy of his female colleagues, Max straightened his back, made a double gun gesture with his hands, pointed at two vital points, tilted his head and said, "That's right, I'm a bitch just like you." He was so straightforward. Female colleagues. P.S. There will be more in the evening. Chapter 222. You should be called Max. 520. Monica, what are you looking at there? Chandler pushed the door open and saw Monica standing in front of the window looking out, and couldn't help but wonder, what else can you look at? Adam. Rachel sat on the sofa, flipping through a fashion magazine, and casually complained. Why? Chandler laughed and teased. He also looked at her naked body. Rachel rolled her eyes immediately, but she remembered that when she came out of the shower without wearing a towel properly, Chandler pushed the door in and saw her bare, and then Chandler often looked at her bare. Both of them were a little embarrassed. Genius Ross gave the Michaelis solution. Look back. If you see her bare, unbutton your pants and let her look back. It's fair to pay back. This suggestion was agreed by everyone, which shows that it is a true Michaelis tradition, except for Chandler. If it was Joey, he would definitely open his pajamas directly, and then reveal the underwear with Ross's head on it, so that Rachel could see enough. But Chandler was very uncomfortable and firmly disagreed. So a battle of attack and defense officially started. Rachel looked for every opportunity to see back. For example, when Chandler was taking a shower, she rushed in and pulled open the curtain, but because of the wrong information, she saw not Chandler, but Joey's father, which scared Rachel so much that she covered her face and ran away. This was a very unhappy time for Rachel. Now, when she heard Chandler making fun of this, how could she be in a good mood? Okay. Chandler immediately raised his hands in surrender, walked past Rachel, came to Monica, imitated her movements, and looked towards Adam's apartment. The target has not appeared yet. Level 1 alert. Don't make trouble. Monica hit Chandler and explained, Adam stayed after you left at noon and hooked up with a waiter in our restaurant. I heard that they are going on a date tonight. I want to see how fast they develop. What? Chandler got excited when he heard it. It's starting now? Ha, man. Rachel snorted disdainfully. What does the waitress look like? Chandler gossiped. Very fierce. Monica complained. At this time, she already knew why Max dared to call him Max. Unlike her who was pretending, Max was not fake at all. Every time she thought of this, she felt it was too exaggerated. Heather's type, Chandler teased. Yes, Heather's type. Monica nodded. At this point, she was stunned for a moment, and then suspected. Do you think Adam has some obsessive-compulsive disorder? Huh? Chandler was puzzled. Carolyn and Heather both have manners. Monica analyzed. This Max and Heather are both extremely cruel. Will Adam choose a female companion according to a certain pattern? Come on, Chandler mocked. You said Adam is like a serial killer. According to your analysis, most men have a pattern, because they all like women who are both beautiful and have good figures. I'm just saying that. Monica smiled awkwardly. I always feel that the girlfriends Adam finds are a little special. I have this feeling too. Rachel threw down the fashion magazine and followed the gossip. What's special? Chandler was confused. I can't really put it into words. Monica shook her head and said, it's just a feeling. Yes, a woman's intuition. Rachel agreed. Chandler was speechless. Here they come, Monica shouted at the bottom of her voice. Chandler and Rachel looked over. Adam and an extremely ferocious girl walked in. Wow. OMG. Rachel and Chandler stared at them, and then looked at Monica in unison. Don't look at them. Monica understood what they meant and said unhappily, she's telling the truth. You said they just met today and it's their first date? Chandler stared at Adam and the others, suspiciously. But why do they look so familiar? It doesn't look like they just met and went on a date. Because they are all masters, Rachel complained. Otherwise, who would come up to drink coffee on their first date? That's too fast. Is it not good for us to look at them like this? Chandler saw that Adam and Max's actions were escalating, and quickly reminded them. Well, it's a bit bad. Monica and Rachel nodded, but their eyes were fixed on that side. Come on, Rachel whispered. Let's do something exciting. Chandler's mouth twitched, his head tilted, and finally turned around in a charming arc, staring at that side like the two of them. Just when the three held their breath, Adam suddenly stood up, walked to the window, and smiled at the three people in apartment 520 with the same arc as Ross under the ultraviolet light, and then swish and closed the curtains. Oh tilde, the three were immediately disappointed. Duncan apartment. Why are you wearing a white coat? Max saw Adam put on a white coat and immediately complained. Do you want me to wear a nurse's bed uniform or a hospital gown? Let's play cosplay games? Adam smiled without saying anything, but just took out another set of clothes from behind, which was a patient's gown. Pretend I didn't say anything. Max gave Adam a thumbs up and cooperated to change. So, Mr. Duncan, what should we do next? Miss Max, I'm going to give you a full body check. Adam smiled. Okay, Max said self-deprecatingly. I usually don't want to go to the hospital, but I didn't expect there would be a service where a handsome doctor would come to my door. If I had known, I would have saved the money on batteries and directly called for a door-to-door doctor service. Next, Adam entered the learning state. The problem of the difficult medical interactive examination and learning with Iliad and Bianca these days was finally solved, so Adam was very serious and devoted himself to it. Are you sure you got this from the video? Max looked at Adam, who was in a learning state, with some strangeness. Aren't we watching a kind of videotape? This is a special edition for medical students. Adam took the time to laugh. Didn't I tell you that I'm a freshman at Columbia University Medical School? Huh? Max's eyes widened. You are really a prospective doctor, so you are really studying? Of course, Adam said seriously. What do you think? I thought. Max tilted his head and thought for a while, and said seriously, I heard that the Japanese videotapes seem to be in this rhythm, but that's because they have to delay time like this. Before he finished speaking, he was forced into the rhythm of the United States by Adam. An hour later, you should be called Max. Max lay there, mumbling a little absent-mindedly. If our restaurant recruits male waiters, I will definitely recommend you. Thank you for the compliment. Adam was refreshed and accepted Max's compliment without any modesty. This was what he deserved. But in his heart he was comparing the similarities and differences between Max and Heather. Then, he smiled again with the same arc as Ross under the ultraviolet light. Chapter 223 Suffocated by Dreams. In the next 2 weeks, Adam frequently asked Max to study with him. Max admired motivated students the most, so he naturally did everything he could. During the break in the schedule, looking at this kind and honest big bear girl with a sharp tongue, Adam used the psychology he learned to quietly mobilize her energy to complain about her past and present. Compared to studying, he wanted to help this girl who had just become an adult and was already physically and mentally injured. But this kind of help must be subtle and silent, otherwise, with her personality, she would definitely resist this kind of help. She has developed the habit of relying on herself for everything, and does not want to rely on others, and is afraid to rely on others, because the last person she relied on was her mother. That was really an unbearable experience. This kind of temperament has both good and bad sides. The good thing is that she accepted Adam's view of love more easily than Carolyn and Heather. The bad thing is that it is difficult for her to open her heart, and once she opens her heart, it is difficult to close it. This is the time to test Adam's skills. He wants to help her take a completely different path and help her realize her dream. But at the same time, he must keep enough distance so that she can understand each other's position and not fall into it. Heather's departure made him realize himself. Deep affection and exclusiveness are definitely not suitable for him. Nora, Carolyn, Heather, Max are just a journey in his life. In the future, he may settle down and start his own family, but definitely not now. In 10 or even 20 years, he will just be a playboy. This is also a typical example of the Michaelis tradition eroding Adam's three views. Isn't that the case with Iron Man? He was unruly when he was young, and he reflected on himself in middle age, turned back and won everything. Adam likes this template. As the protagonist, he is no worse than Iron Man. In fact, his quality of life is far better than Iron Man, because the reason why Iron Man turned back is that he is tired of playing and matures and wants to have feelings, but there is also the factor that he can't play anymore. After all, there is such a big hole in his chest, and he didn't know how to control himself when he was young. When he reached middle age, his physical fitness declined across the board. If he doesn't turn back, does he really have to follow the ideas of the Japanese and Howard in the Big Bang Theory and use armor and robots to assist? Wouldn't that be a prophecy? And he would really become a prosthesis. I guess he would never do it even if he was beaten to death. So, it is the best choice to stop and turn back. Adam has no concerns about this at all. As his attributes continue to improve, his physical fitness will only get stronger and stronger. If he chooses to start a family in the future, it is definitely because of emotional needs, not physical pressure. I am now a sophomore at Green Garden Community College and will graduate this year. After studying hard, Max, who is extremely fulfilled and mentally relaxed, tells her story under Adam's guidance. Why did you choose art? Don't laugh when I tell you this. After graduation, I want to find a job painting, preferably children's books. When I was a child, my favorite thing to read was a mechanical doll, and she lived in a loving and happy family. I know this is all fake, to deceive children, but I think this kind of fakeness is still very good. At least it helped me get through the most difficult period. It's a good dream. I believe you can definitely make it come true. Adam listened to Max's words and said affirmatively, "Don't try to coax me." I don't need to coax me. I really need to slow down. Unless you like lifeless bodies. Max's fierce words came out. I heard that some people like this, especially you doctors. You are used to seeing the body and it's boring. Only heavy taste can stimulate you. Adam's mouth twitched. Movies and TV dramas are really killing people. I don't know if the screenwriters didn't get timely treatment when they were sick, or they disliked the hospital fees for being too expensive, so they always blackened the doctors. But thinking that this is a mixed world of American TV dramas, I couldn't say this rebuttal, because what Max said might really be true. How do you feel about studying at Green Garden Community College? Have you ever thought about studying at other universities? Adam could only change the subject. In addition to the distinction between public and private universities in the United States, there is also a distinction between community colleges and rural universities. Community colleges are a bit like technical colleges in the East, but they are different. No matter how old you are, sometimes it doesn't matter what your academic qualifications are. As long as you want to learn something, you can come and study after paying tuition. Low threshold, low tuition, and free time are a way for many people who cannot go to a real university to further their studies. Sheldon's brother George and Missy have both attended community colleges. In order to narrow the gap between her and Leonard in the future, Penny also went there, but it was useless because Penny's paper was a mess. Leonard couldn't stand it and helped to revise it. In the end, except for the title of the paper, there was no other word in common. Penny's self-esteem was greatly hurt, and she scolded Leonard. After her own efforts, she successfully got a B+ grade for the paper she wrote. When she slapped the paper on Leonard's face, she felt so happy. But as soon as she went back, she immediately used her status as a school bully to threaten Bernadette and Amy, who helped her write the paper, and told them not to leak any information. Bernadette and Amy nodded repeatedly and were very excited, because in the past, they had no chance to be so close to a big sister like Penny in school. After that, Penny became a little inflated, thinking about raising the paper grade to A next time, and continue to pretend to be awesome. Then, there was nothing else. It was not because Bernadette and Amy did not get an A, but because of Penny's level. In order to be credible, they dared not write too low or too high. After repeated suppression, they wrote such a paper. Penny thought about it and had to give up, because once she really got an A, Leonard might be more excited than her. If she kept promoting her, and others talked about it, she would be confused, and she would not be able to pretend to be cool. This is a community college. The school system is only 2 years. If you study very well, you will have the opportunity to enter a regular university for further study, and the credits you earn in the community college can be incorporated into the credits of a regular university, which is equivalent to saving the first and second years of college and not having to start from scratch. It is also humane. However, such opportunities are rare, and it depends on the regular university resources that the community college can connect with. Max graduated this year, and it is probably not easy to find a painting job as a community college graduate. This is probably the biggest turning point for her to give up hope completely. Ideals are full, but reality is skinny. She couldn't hit herself, but she was always hurt by the harsh reality. Even if she was plump enough and had max defense, she couldn't withstand such a ruthless and continuous impact. Then she showed her cards, gave up on herself, and let it go. No matter how fierce the cruel impact of reality came, she didn't care. Ordinary people who have no dreams and are just living are the mainstream. She just returned to the mainstream. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Pretends to be dead when it's time. Duncan apartment. Further study? Max shook his head as soon as he heard it. Don't joke. Why not? Adam laughed. I'm not that kind of material at all, Max said with some inferiority. I haven't even got a high school diploma. It's already a stretch to go to community college. Why should I go to a real university? You can get a high school diploma. Adam played with Maxim and encouraged him. The key is whether you like painting or not. Do you want to be a real illustrator of children's books in the future? Of course I do, Max said without hesitation. That's it. Adam laughed. With what you learned in community college, it's probably difficult to find a job environment you dream of. In this case, why don't you go to college for further study and learn amazing skills that will leave everyone speechless? But Max was a little tempted, but still shook his head. I can't do it. I just like it. It's not that I'm good. There are people who are better than me in Green Garden Community College. I can't go to college. Talent is indeed important. Adam nodded. Right. Max breathed a sigh of relief, but also felt a little lost in his heart. This was the first time someone encouraged her to pursue her dream. But speaking of talent, Adam played with Naxon and teased, who is more talented than you? In the past 2 weeks, Adam secretly compared Max and Heather. In terms of appearance and figure, Max was far inferior to Heather. In terms of talent, the two were on par. But in terms of driving, Max was absolutely the best, far superior to her peers. Sometimes, even Adam couldn't catch up, and he shouted to the old driver to take me. You know, she was only 19 years old and had just become an adult. This also reflected from the side what kind of life she had lived in the past. Oh, Max, who changed from Maxim to Naxon, exclaimed and slapped Adam hard. I'm going to die. This is not a balloon, but it can also explode. Seeing Adam laughing there, Max complained unhappily. People say that big breasts mean no brains. Look at it yourself. I can't even get a high school diploma. Isn't that normal? With such a talent, you still want to go to college? Do you want me to chop it off, or do you want me to sleep my way up? Okay, let's not talk about talent. Adam changed the subject. Many times, talent is not as important as diligence. You are learning painting, which emphasizes skills, which can be cultivated through a lot of practice. This is not like mathematics, where you can't solve the formula if you can't solve it. Who said that? Max retorted. Top painters also pay great attention to talent and inspiration. If diligence can lead to success, there won't be so few masters. Well said. Adam nodded and smiled. So, your goal is to become a top master? Max paused. How dare she fantasize about becoming a master? She just wanted to be an excellent painter, and one day draw an excellent children's painting book. That would be enough. And this does not require talent. It can be achieved with enough diligence and hard work. We don't need to be a top master, Adam said in a gentle voice. It's enough to work hard to become an excellent painter. What do you think? I said. Max complained. I said I've had enough rest. Are you still okay? As he said that, he looked at Adam with a provocative look. Adam laughed, knowing that she was trying to change the subject, but he still decided to give her a way out and let her face the reality. When you should play dead, play dead. Don't force yourself. 2 hours later, Adam got up, leaned against the head of the bed, took the medical book and started reading. He glanced at Max beside him and smiled knowingly. Max, who had forced provocation to change the subject before, now stared at the ceiling with lifeless eyes, and his face showed the same classic expression that Amy had when Sheldon drove for the first time on the night of her birthday after 8 years of love. Adam knew that Max's goal of changing the subject had been achieved. It's not that he forgot or didn't want to ask, but even if he had the energy to ask, Max had no energy to answer any questions. In fact, Max, who showed the same classic expression as Amy, didn't want to say a word, just stared at the ceiling. This time, he didn't have to pretend to be dead. Instead, he fell asleep in a short while. The next day, morning jogging time. "How are you and Max getting along? When are we going to have dinner together?" Monica asked. Since she went back to work, she has joined the morning jogging again. Although the cosplay costumes are annoying, it's just like that after getting used to it. It's a job requirement, and sometimes people just need to work because it reflects their own value. Just like during working hours, everyone looks forward to getting off work and holidays, but once the holidays are too long, most people want to go back to work. After work, even though Monica felt a little awkward, her spirits rose immediately. The Monica who was full of fighting spirit but always cared about her friends was back. "Wait a little longer." Adam smiled and said, "By the way, when you go to work today, please ask for leave for her. She can't go today." "What's wrong?" Monica asked with concern. "Is she sick?" "You don't understand?" Chandler on the sign laughed strangely. "What do you understand?" Monica was puzzled. "Under normal circumstances, even if she has something to do, wouldn't she ask for leave herself?" Chandler winked and said, "Why does Adam ask for leave for her this time?" "Think about it, you mean?" Monica covered her mouth, stunned. "That must be the case, Adam, am I right?" Chandler asked. "She was tossing and turning last night and slept too late. She probably won't wake up before 9 o'clock. Adam described the incident in a simple way and said with a smile, "I thought, let her have a good rest for a day and don't tire herself out." "You are really considerate," Monica complained. "You are exaggerating. Are you a human being? It is said that there is no land that is damaged by plowing, only cows that are exhausted to death. But this is not absolute. What if you meet the Bull Demon King?" "You have contributed to this," Chandler said. "The 7-point permutation and combination method you taught is really amazing." "Don't say it." Monica rolled her eyes and said, "If Susie hadn't thanked me specifically, I would really regret telling you, especially you, Adam. Women know women best." The 7-point permutation and combination method summarized by Monica received a 5-star praise from Susie. After experiencing it, Susie held Monica's hand. The gratitude from the bottom of her heart was so sincere. "Don't mind." Adam smiled reservedly and said, "I haven't had the chance to use what you taught me." Monica. Chandler. Chapter 225. I have some hormones that need to be balanced. Duncan apartment. It must be said that since studying medicine, Adam has been more and more accurate in understanding the human body. Max slept until 10 o'clock. When she opened her eyes, she saw that the sun was high in the sky. She cried out that it was terrible. She wanted to jump up and go to work, but she found that she was weak all over. Then, she held her waist. "Ouch, damn Adam." Max leaned sideways, groaned, and cursed. In fact, this can't be blamed entirely on Adam, because her waist is not good to begin with, who made her bear too much weight in front of her. After lying down for a long time, she finally recovered a little. She glanced at a note on Adam's pillow, reached out to take it, and saw that Adam had asked for leave for her. "You are so experienced. You must have done this kind of thing a lot before," Max complained. "No wonder you said you don't want to fall in love. You just want to keep a state of more than friends but less than lovers. I don't think anyone wants to be your girlfriend." After saying that, she held her waist and lay down again, looking at the ceiling in silence. "It seems that I have to keep my distance from him," Max murmured. "If this happens every day, who can stand it? It's really perverted." After complaining for a while, she couldn't help but think that the reason why this happened was entirely because of her deliberate provocation. And then she fell into the tangle of last night again. She was moved by Adam's encouragement, but she was inferior to her own conditions and dared not imagine a better future. She naturally felt Adam's intentions, otherwise she would not have told him so many stories about her. The reason why she wanted to keep her distance was not because she was afraid of being severely punished for her provocation last night, but rather because she was trembling with anxiety about Adam's approach. As an old driver, she was not afraid of any physical touch, but the slightest contact in the mind made her panic. In the next few weeks, what greatly relieved her was that Adam had restrained himself before she took the initiative to keep a distance. Adam no longer mentioned the dream issue that made her nervous before. The perverted physical communication was also reduced to a suitable length and intensity. Mac's restaurant. You know what? I just realized that in the whole last year, I only dated Richard and Julio. Monica complained to Adam. You always say that there are so many handsome men and beautiful women in your class of medical students. You have to help me to find some and get back in love, please. It's not that I won't help you, Adam advised. It's just that my classmates are not suitable for you. Believe me, you won't like dating them, no matter how handsome they are. I know, Monica said with hesitation. You are very busy and have no time to cultivate relationships. But I don't want a very sincere relationship right away. I just want to find a handsome guy and get back in love, just like you. More than friends but less than lovers. That's good. Seeing Adam looking at her strangely, Monica spread her hands and glared at him. What's wrong? You can stare at my fake bear for more than a month without clapping. But I can't find someone to balance my exploding hormones. I didn't say that. You can do it. I support you. Facing Monica, who said, I need to balance some hormones, Adam could only give her a thumbs up. Tell me what kind of guy you want, and I'll give it a try. My requirements are not high. Monica smiled and rubbed her hands and said, it doesn't matter how handsome he is, as long as I like him. Does it have to be him? Adam teased. Of course not. Monica hit back. If you are willing to give Max to me, I can do that too. Sure. Adam smiled. I don't mind. You can do whatever you want. He is not Ross, who feels like the sky is falling when he hears that his wife is a lesbian. A capable man's first reaction should not be like this. Monica was shocked by Adam's shamelessness. Excuse me. At this time, a guest called Monica. What do you need? Monica walked to the guest with the burden of the boss and asked. A piece of cheesecake. The guest was counting the tip, and looked up and smiled. There is another date, if there is one. Didn't we talk about it? Monica was obviously familiar with this guest, and smiled when she heard it. The reason you want to date me is because I have blonde hair, big bears, and I serve you food. Of course not. The guest smiled. If that's the case, then I can just ask my aunt. In the United States, this will be sentenced. Adam couldn't help but interrupt. I was joking, the guest explained. Me too. Adam looked at this familiar face and stretched out his hand and said, my name is Adam, Monica's good friend. I think you just heard that Monica outsourced her date to me. So, I want to please you. The guest stretched out his hand and shook it very politely. Peter Baker, Monica's suitor. I think I have seen you somewhere. Adam looked at Peter. Do you like to read comics? Comics? Peter thought Adam recognized him, but he suddenly talked about comics. It's okay. Have you seen Iron Man? Adam asked. Do you think I look like Iron Man? Peter stroked his mustache, somewhat contented. Although Iron Man is still only a second or third tier superhero in the comics world, his lifestyle is very compatible with the rich. Just as handsome people read novels and film or involved with the ordinary male protagonist, as a rich man, Peter also feels involved with Iron Man. No, Adam said seriously, I think you look a lot like Happy, Iron Man's bodyguard. If Iron Man is to be made into a live-action version in the future, I suggest you audition. Peter's face suddenly fell. Happy bodyguard? Who is that? Do you believe that he would directly invest in Iron Man and be the protagonist himself? Adam. Monica gave Adam a reproachful look. Don't think too much, Adam explained. This is a compliment. Although Happy is just a bodyguard, he is Iron Man's confidant and good friend. In the end, he not only inherited Iron Man's huge fortune, but also married Iron Man's beloved Pepper Potts. He is a real winner in life. Really? Peter was a little uncertain. He had only read some Iron Man comics, but he was not very clear about all the things about Iron Man. After all, whether it was Marvel or DC, the storylines were too messy, and they would restart the timeline and open parallel universes at any time. If you are not a die-hard fan, you can't figure it out at all. According to Adam, This bodyguard Happy is really a winner in life. It is not an insult to compare him with Happy. Yes, Adam said seriously. Do you know why he was able to defeat Iron Man and marry Pepper? It's because he sincerely loves Pepper. Compared to Iron Man, who is over 40 years old and still has fun outside all day, Happy, who accompanies her every day, is the true love. There is a great sage in the East, Jushiran, who once said that companionship is the longest confession of love, and that's what he said. So he is like this. When Peter heard this, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up, and he thought to himself, I am not such a person. Adam is right. If I really shoot a live-action Iron Man movie in the future, maybe I can audition for Happy, just for fun, or I can invest in the filming myself and be a director, which is also very interesting. Adam almost couldn't hold back his laughter when he saw this. This Peter is Happy, the bodyguard in the original Iron Man movie, and also the director of Iron Man. Well, they just have the same face. P.S. Thanks to Yidan, LV Dufuaning, and Kang Ha Yishinkwa for the rewards. There will be more in the evening. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.